at its best as the Beavers of Beaver Local take on the Bellaire Big Reds right here on News Channel 7.
Today, the Bellaire Big to stay undefeated as they host the Fighting Beavers from Beaver Local. Tom Bechtel joins us once again today on the color side of the broadcast. And Tom, coming into today's game, the Big Reds coming off of that huge victory just 1 week ago over the St. Clairsville Red Devils.
Yeah, they were very impressive last week. They won 36-0. Pretty much had their way with the Red Devils, and a little unexpected, but we knew Bellaire had an outstanding ball club, and it'll be interesting to see what they can do today.
You know, when you talk Bellaire football, obviously it starts at quarterback, and it starts with Jose Davis. This kid probably one of the most talented athletes throughout the entire Ohio Valley.
Yeah, the word around the Ohio Valley is he's a Division I recruit. Coach Ron Saran of Beaver Local expressed that, you know, he has to stop Jose Davis. If he doesn't, it's going to be a long afternoon.
Now, when you talk about Beaver Local, a lot of folks may not know much about Beaver Local. They started their season also a week ago, but they come into today's game at 0-1.
They played an outstanding Western Beaver team. They're state-ranked in Pennsylvania, the #3 team in PA. And unfortunately, Ron Saran has walked into a situation where he has just a very, very tough opening schedule.
Should be a good one today, folks. Bellaire and Beaver Local. We'll have the kickoff coming up next for you right here on our News Channel 7 Game of the Week. And welcome back, everybody, to Nelson Field in Bellaire for our News Channel 7 Game of the Week as the Bellaire Big Reds get ready to do battle today with the Beaver Local Fighting Beavers here in Bellaire. An overcast sky here today in Bellaire. Plenty of clouds, not really much sun shining through anywhere. Already had some rain early on this morning, so the field could be a little bit damp, but it doesn't look like it's in bad condition at all. And after not having rain for over a month, I'm sure most of the folks this morning really didn't mind the rain too much. And looks like it should hold off, hopefully, for most of the afternoon. We should be able to get this game in without any more rain falling. But, of course, we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. The Bellaire Big Reds won the toss. They will be receiving. The Beaver Local Fighting Beavers will be kicking off to open the game. So we're just about ready to get underway. Bellaire will drop 3 men back deep to receive the ball. Bobby Roth is on the near side. He's joined in the middle by Timmy Marling. And then on the far side, number 35, Rich Mamie. And doing the kicking for Beaver Local is number 32. That is Bill Jones. So we're about set to get things underway from Nelson Field. Glad you could join us once again, folks, for our News Channel 7 Game of the Week. The kick from Jones goes end over end, and it'll come down to Roth at his own 15-yard line. He comes through a crowd of blockers up over the 30-yard line, and so Bellaire will come out with their offense on the 31. Let's set that Big Reds offense for you as they take the field. Of course, they are led by quarterback Jose Davis. There they are, Bobby Roth, Mamie, also in the backfield, Taylor, Timberlake, and Kinder are the men he'll be throwing the football to. Up front, Seacrest, Weber, Adams, Meyers, Vinga, and also Bomber is your kicker. So first down and 10 for Bellaire on their own 31-yard line. We'll set the Beaver Local Fighting Beaver defense after this play. Davis comes up underneath center. 2 wideouts to the far side. Man in motion back to the near side. That is Taylor. Davis, 5-step drop, looking downfield, avoids the rush. Now he's going to roll out, and he's going to tuck it and run. He's across the 35, up over the 40-yard line, or at least near the 40-yard line, before he's finally forced out of bounds, Tom.
This is what makes Jose Davis such an outstanding player, is his ability to make the play when nothing develops. The receivers were covered. Jose looked downfield, saw the opening, gets a nice gain of 7 yards. And if Jose can do this all day, it might be a long afternoon for the Fighting Beavers.
All right, so second down now for Bellaire. About 3 yards still for the first down. Still got to check that Beaver Local defense for you. We'll do it coming up here. Davis drops back, throws it down, has his man. And a nice catch made there by Dusty Kinder. He's up over midfield to the 49. Let's set the Beaver Local Fighting Beavers defense for you. Here's the way it looks. An inside linebacker, that's Bowser. And then a defensive tackle, that's Chamberlain. Also Becky, Sprouse, McNear, and Plunkett. The rest of the defense shapes up like this. Hopple, Gallagher, Neville, Dunkel, and also Boston is also in the defensive backfield for the Beaver Local Beavers. So it's 1st and 10 now for Bellaire, just across midfield at the 49. The inside handoff this time for Bellaire. And a nice job that time by Bobby Roth to move it almost the length of the chains up just across the 40. And it'll be second down, and we'll call it about 2.
It'll be interesting to see, Scott, how the Bellaire offense reacts today. Last week against St. Clairsville in their impressive win, they were strictly an air-type team. Today, I have a feeling they're going to try to put the ball on the ground a little bit, show some of the teams throughout the valley they do have the ability to run the football.
So it's 2nd down and 2 now for Bellaire. Davis drops back, throwing downfield, has a man, but he just overthrows his man that time. Just a little bit too long, pass intended that time for Dusty Kinder. Of course, Gino Startari once again roaming the sidelines today. Let's send it down to Gino.
All right, thank you, Scott. As we said in the open, Beaver local lost last week to Western Beaver. Final score in that game, 37-13. But in the fourth quarter, just 12 seconds in the fourth quarter of that football game, the lights went out, and Western Beaver was awarded the win. I don't think you'll have that problem today. It's an afternoon game. Back to you.
Yeah, we don't have to worry much about the lights today with the day game like you mentioned, Gino. So on 3rd down, Bellaire hands it off inside, and Rich Mamie gets it up across the 35. That's good enough for a Bellaire first down, so they keep the chains moving on the opening drive here the afternoon. And like you said, Tom, I think Bellaire wants to be able to show that, folks, yes, we can do both aspects of the game. We can throw the football, and we can also run it on the ground very effectively.
If they're going to develop into a playoff caliber football team, they're going to need to have a running game, and I think today's going to be where they try to establish that.
Davis back to pass again, looking downfield. Going to his man, Ben Taylor, that time. The defensive man had also tripped and fell, and then Taylor actually tripped right over top of the defensive back, Dan Gallagher, that time. Right down at about the 15-yard line. It looked as if Davis had him open, but he just tripped over the defensive back.
Yeah, there was a little bit of contact on that play. No harm, no foul. They both fell to the turf, and that's just one of those unfortunate type plays that happen in football.
So 2nd down and 10 now for the Big Reds on their opening drive of the afternoon. No score yet here from Nelson Field. Glad you could join us on our News Channel 7 game of the week. Davis looking to pass once again, looking downfield, going to Taylor again. He has the reception, sheds a tackler, and gets across the down to near the 15-yard line. He's across the 20 and down to about the 15. A nice job by Ben Taylor that time to elude the defensive pressure. Here's a look at the replay for you folks, and you'll see Davis, he's passed the ball quite effectively so far on the opening drive this afternoon, and Ben Taylor did a fantastic job to just grab the football and elude the tackler. So they pick up another first down and keep the drive alive down to the 17-yard line. 1st and 10. Just under 10 minutes left to go here in the first quarter. No score yet from Nelson Field. Davis hands the ball off this time. Actually handed it off up inside, and a gain of maybe about 3 that time. Carried that time by Bobby Roth. And we'll give him just across the 15 down to the 14. So a gain of about 3. Now it's 2nd down and about 7 for Bellaire. So 2nd down and 7 now for Bellaire. Ball just across the 15 at about the 14-yard line. Taylor comes in motion once again to the near side. That's Davis, the quarterback, looking downfield. Looking for his man, and nearly intercepted that time by Beaver local. Number 24, Brad McNear, had his paws on it, but just couldn't close.
Tell you, Scott, Bellaire is really stretching the Beaver local defense. On every play, they're sending 4 receivers out. A couple plays ago, Kinder missed the pass, but he was downfield about 30 yards, and that's quite unusual for a tight end to run those type of routes.
You talked to Coach Sharon before the game today, Tom, and he mentioned that if we wanted to be able to win, we're going to have to stop Jose Davis, and especially when he's dropping back to pass like that.
Yeah, he knows Jose's a Division I type football player, and the game really...
Davis that time lost the ball, lost it on the snap, and Rich Mamie's just able to pounce on top of it. It'll be a big loss for Bellaire, dropping them back now to about 3rd and 10 as they move the ball all the way back to where they basically started the 1st and 10 situation, and look for it to be 4th down now. That was 3rd down, so 4th and 10 now for Bellaire. So on the 3rd and 7, they're unable to pick anything up, and they move the ball back to 4th and 10. Bellaire undaunted. They'll go for it on 4th down. Davis back to pass, looking over the middle to Dusty Kinder. Touchdown! Well, on 4th and 10, it doesn't seem to matter what down it is, Tom. Jose Davis can find his man whenever he needs to, and that time it's Dusty Kinder in the end zone for 6.
Yeah, once again, I just referred to the fact that Kinder was running long patterns. That was about a 17-yard pass play. Jose laid the ball right on the money.
There it is right there, folks, right where it needs to be, and Dusty Kinder just runs right underneath it. 6-0 Bellaire, though, up to go for 2. 8:43 left to go in the first quarter. Mamie goes in motion to the far side. Davis rolls out to that area. He's got Mamie, and the two-point conversion is good. So on their first drive of the game here today, the Big Reds strike, and they lead now early, 8-0 Bellaire in the first quarter of play. 8 minutes and 43 seconds still left to play in the first quarter. And you know, coming into today's game, I think that has to be something that I think Beaver Local had hoped they would be able to possibly, you know, stop on the first drive, Tom. Be able to just put Bellaire in there and maybe not be a 3-and-out situation, but at least let them drive the football a little while, but not put one in the end zone that quickly.
Yeah, I think they saw the St. Clairsville game last week where Bellaire took the ball the first 3 possessions, went right down the field against what's expected to be a pretty decent St. C team. So Beaver Local has some concerns coming in the game, and they're going to have to show some defensive ability to stop the Big Reds, or it could be a long afternoon.
So right on that drive, folks, you could see the explosive offense that the Bellaire Big Reds do hold here. A team that actually is able to strike from any position on the field, and whatever down they may be faced with, it doesn't seem to matter. This team always thinks that they can put it in the end zone and put a quick 6 points on the scoreboard, as they did with a 4th and 10 situation that time on the drive. So Bellaire set to kick the ball off now. That's P.J. Bomber, number 33. And back deep to receive for Beaver Local. They'll have sent 2 men down. Bomber kicks it up high, end over end, and it'll come down at about the 15-yard line. Picked up there by Brad McNear, and McNear is swarmed over top by a host of tacklers from Bellaire as he gets it up near the 30-yard line. Let's send it back down to the sidelines, and Gino Startari.
Thank you, Scott. On that last offensive drive, the first drive of the game for Bellaire, Jose Davis, after the fumble on 3rd and 8, looked over to Coach Magistro and he said, "No problem, Coach, we're going to go for it." Jose Davis, folks, we're not going to go out on a limb when we say this, is the best player in the OVAC this year. He's cool as a cucumber. He showed it in that first series. Back up to you, Scott. 1st and 10 for Beaver Local, and they'll hand the ball off inside this time. Pick up that time a short gain by Brian Neville. Let's go ahead and set the Beaver Local offense for you folks here. The first time they've had the ball this afternoon after the short gain on first down. Here's the way the offense shapes up for the Fighting Beavers of Beaver Local. There it is right there. Williamson is your quarterback. Bowser and Neville in the back, along with Hoppel, Daler, and Boston are your wideouts. We'll set the offensive line. There they are. Carroll, Wellington, Sprouse, and Becky here on 2nd down for Beaver Local. 2nd down and 9 after the gain of 1. Williamson goes to the air and nearly intercepted that time by Ben Taylor. And on that note, let's set the defense for the Big Reds from Bellaire High School. It'll be a 3rd and 9 situation for the Fighting Beavers. There's the defensive mess for the Big Reds. Taylor, Meyers, Kinder, Weber, Seacrest, and Allen. And the rest of the defense shapes up like this for Bellaire. Mamie, Roth, Massarelli, Cannon, and Timberlake. Also a defensive back for Bellaire. So it's 3rd and 9 now for Beaver Local on their first drive of the afternoon. Williamson goes over the top, and he is picked off by Ben Taylor. I tell you what, Tom, that time I don't think he even looked downfield, and Taylor was just standing right there, and it was almost like he was the intended receiver.
Yeah, I think Taylor did a good job of reading the quarterback's eyes. He soloed in on the one receiver, and Ben was sitting there waiting for the interception.
There you see it, folks. Taylor just right in position to come up with the pass that time, and he was right on the money. And so Bellaire will take back over now. 1st and 10. Ball on the 25-yard line of Beaver Local. Davis, the quarterback, drops back to pass once again. Some pressure. He has to roll out of the pocket. Still looking to throw. Finally does unleash the ball. Touchdown! The pass that time to Bobby Roth in the end zone, folks. As Gino Startari had just mentioned after the last touchdown, Jose Davis, the best athlete, at least in his opinion, in the OVAC. And on that play, he's making a lot of believers, I think, Tom. Wow.
What a super play. What a super play.
Here he is once again rolling out, folks, near the sideline when he finally unleashes the football, and Roth right in the end zone. Touchdown. We do have a player down on the field right now, injured on that last play, a member of the Beaver Local defense laying on the far sideline, and unable to get a number for you right now, folks. Gino Startari is over near that player. Let's send it down to Gino and see if he can tell us the situation. Gino.
Scott, the injured player is Brad McNear from the Fighting Beavers of Beaver Local. They're telling me on the sidelines here he just had the wind knocked out of him. I think he'll be okay. He was one of the guys chasing Jose Davis on that play. And we're getting back to Jose Davis. We told you last time you checked in with me, he is the best player in this valley this year. He showed it right there. How many quarterbacks can run across the grain, run right, throw right? What a play by Jose Davis. But the main concern right now, number 24, Brad McNear, is down on the field, but it looks like he's going to be okay. They're saying he has the wind knocked out of him. Back up to you guys.
Okay, Gino and Tom, what does this do for a Beaver Local team who comes into this game? They know what Bellaire was able to do a week ago against a club like St. Clairsville, who a lot of people think are a lot better than that 36-0 loss that they had to the Big Reds. What does this do after the first two opportunities the Bellaire's even had the ball? They've hit the end zone both times.
Well, obviously, their main concern coming into this afternoon was, can we contain Jose Davis? Based on the first few minutes of this ball game, I'd say it's a resounding no.
And there you see McNear up, and he is jogging off the field, so that's a good sight. Brad McNear, of course, he's one of the players that goes both ways for Beaver Local, so they'll definitely need him in this afternoon's ball game. And McNear appears to be quite all right as he's coming off the field. And Bellaire will be attempting the point after touchdown now, and this time they're going to elect to kick it, leading 14-0 here. 7:23 still left to play in the first quarter. And of course, that's Bomber who will be attempting the field goal. So the PAT upcoming for Bellaire, already leading 14-0 this afternoon over Beaver Local. The kick is up, and it is good. So after the first two times they touched the football this afternoon, they hit pay dirt, folks. They lead 15-0 to the Big Reds of Bellaire. Let's take a break. We'll come back with more first quarter action right after this. You're watching the News Channel 7 Game of the Week. All right, folks, welcome back to Nelson Field. Set for the kickoff here. Bellaire leading 15-0 over the Beavers of Beaver Local. P.J. Bomber set to kick off once again for Bellaire. High end over end kick. It'll travel all the way back to the goal line. Picked up there by Popperleiter. And Popperleiter is nailed once he reaches near the 20-yard line. So it'll be first down and 10 now for Beaver Local. Ball on their own 19. And Tom, this time I think when Beaver Local coming out here, they definitely obviously want to try and get something started offensively. The last time, of course, Williamson intercepted by defensive back Ben Taylor.
Yeah, they can't afford to go 3 and out. They can't put the football in Jose Davis's hands, so they need to get a sustained drive, and it'll be interesting to see what develops here in the next series.
So here we go, first down and 10 now for Beaver Local. Ball on their own 19-yard line. Williamson is your quarterback up underneath center. Give the handoff inside this time, and nothing doing. Carry that time by number 33, Brett Bowser, and Bobby Roth, just one of the several Bellaire players that were in on the tackle that time.
I'll tell you, this is a big, tough, experienced Bellaire defense. They're led by their co-captain, Richie Mamie. He's a 3-year starter, holds the records for Bellaire tackles. He averages 17 tackles a game, Scott. That's very, very impressive.
That is unbelievable, folks. And that kid goes both ways, so there's no rest for him all afternoon, offensively and defensively. He's out there. So it's second down, and they lost a yard on the last one. We'll call it second down and about 11 now for the Beavers. Williamson throws the football that time, and he was nailed as he went to throw it that time.
That looked like big Jason Meyers.
Wow.
Henderson to hit on that play. Jason's been a 3-year starter for the Big Reds. Once again, he plays both ways, and he's a tough football player.
So Williamson that time just unable to find his receiver, but he was also being pressured by Bellaire that time and nailed as he went to throw it. So it'll be third down now and about 10 for Beaver Local. They need to do something here. Pick up a few yards at least to help themselves out when they go to punt the football. They had a man in motion, and the option into the backfield that time given back to Bowser, and he runs right back into the center of the Bellaire defense, and I think he lost a couple of yards on the carry that time. I think he may have only got back up to about the 18-yard line. That should be a loss of about 1. There is a penalty flag on the play. Holding is the call against Beaver Local. So not only do they lose a yard, but they're also penalized.
Yeah, I think Bellaire is going to decline his penalty and set up the punting situation, but a little insult to injury there. They didn't pick up anything on the play, and in addition, there was a holding call.
And you know what that means, Tom, when they have to punt the ball? It means Jose Davis is going to get his hands on the ball for the third time this afternoon, and we'll see if he can direct another score for Bellaire when they get the ball back.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to get the ball in good position. They'll be on the Beaver side of the field unless this punter gets an outstanding kick. So Mr. Davis and company will be in business once again.
Back to punt for Beaver Local. That's Bill Jones. Back deep to receive for Bellaire. Number 20, Tim Marling, and also number 44, Richie Matakowski. The snap is high. Bill Jones in his own end zone is trying to elude the pressure, throws the football, and it's incomplete. But I think that's the best thing that he could have done, at least get it out of the end zone and put him out at least on the 20-yard line. But wow, bad snap that time. And folks, when you talk about things going wrong, I don't think much more could go wrong for Beaver Local than has so far in the first 6.5 minutes here of the first quarter.
Yeah, this is certainly not what you want to do. You don't want to put the ball in the hands of Jose at the 20-yard line. It's not looking real good for the Beavers right now.
So it'll be first down and 10 for Bellaire as they take over. Ball actually placed on the 18. Jose Davis under the center once again. He'll hand the ball off inside this time to Rich Mamie. And a nice open field tackle that time by Brett Bowser. So it's going to be second down now, and we'll call it a pickup of maybe about 1 on the carry that time. Not much, so second down now and 9.
Pickup of 1, it'll be second down, 9.
So second down and 9 now for Bellaire. Ball on the 17, already leading 15-0. The handoff inside this time goes to number 30. That's Bobby Roth. And Roth will get it down to about the 15. A short gain again that time as the inside carry picks up about 2 yards. So to bring up third down now and about 7, we have an official's time taken down on the field.
Looks like our umpire, Butch Velka, is doing a little repairing of the turf down here at Nelson Field.
Of course, we mentioned it, and of course, as you know, folks, throughout the Ohio Valley, it did rain late last night. In fact, I was out at the Wheeling Park Weirton game and then also at the Youngstown Ray and Brook game last evening, and I was dry at Weir, but then when we drove a little further south down to Brook is where I started to get nailed with some rain standing on the sideline. Watching the Bruins and Bud Billiard's team coming up with another big win, 7-0 last night over Youngstown Ray, and so the Bruins now 2-0, and their defense looked tough late in the ball game last night against a Rayan team that had played Massillon a week ago very tough, losing just late in the fourth quarter. So the Bruins still undefeated, and Bellaire looking to improve to 2-0. Now Coach John Magistro's coming out, so we're still having a bit of a situation, if you will. Unfortunately, we really don't know what the situation is all about. And now they're bringing out some sort of tool. Looks like we must have a problem with the field, as you mentioned, Tom.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't seen this tool before, but
this is some tool, folks.
It looks like the ground crew's out, and
wow.
If I didn't know better, Scott, I thought he was going to put in a golf hole there. And,
yeah.
But it appears it was just some type of tamping device. And
where's tee number 1? I'm ready with my driver. We need to get Gino Startari his best holes of the valley down there. I don't know. I thought maybe Gino was getting set to tee up. So whatever the case, it's 3rd and 8 now for Bellaire. 4 minutes and 40 seconds on a turning clock still to go here in the first quarter. 15-0 Bellaire already on top. So on third down, what will Jose Davis do this time? Well, he rolls out, looking to the end zone. Touchdown, Dusty Kinder. Folks, the third time they've had the ball and the third time they've hit the end zone this afternoon. It's now 21-0 Bellaire as we await the point after touchdown try.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Dusty Kinder, he was one of the leading receivers from last year. He's a big target. He's about 6'3", and he has the ability to get down the field and catch the ball, and I'll tell you, that's what makes Bellaire such a dangerous, explosive offense.
As we mentioned, after just the first touchdown, they are very explosive. This team personally feels that they can just strike from almost anywhere on the field, and they come out there just with the confidence that they know they can put it in the end zone. Bomber, the kick, it's up. And it's good once again. So it's now 22-0 in favor of Bellaire. 4 minutes and 32 seconds still left to play here in the first quarter. Let's take another break, and we'll come back with more first quarter action right after this on our News Channel 7 Game of the Week. Welcome back, folks, to Nelson Field in Bellaire. 22-0 in favor of Bellaire. Still 4 minutes and 32 seconds left to go in the first quarter. B.J. Bomber, the high end over end kick. Popplewriter will go all the way back into his own end zone. He's up over the 5 to 10, makes a cut back in at the 15, and then drops down at about the 14-yard line. So Beaver Local will take over, 1st and 10, ball on their own 14. Let's send it down to Gino Startari, who's on the sidelines, and Gino with an update on the Beaver Local offense. Gino.
All right, Scott, the update is there is no offense. And really, the Beaver Local Beavers are shooting themselves in the foot. They're worried about Jose Davis, but right now their biggest enemy might be their offense themselves. Last week, Beaver Local with just 102 yards of total offense, 58 of those yards coming on one play, and today things have been very tough. As for Jose Davis, he is 5 of 8 already in this football game for 90 yards, 3 touchdowns. Coach Ron Saran from Beaver Local says the key to stopping Bellaire is stopping Jose Davis. They're not doing that, but they're not giving themselves a chance. The defense of Beaver Local on the field much too much on this first quarter of play. Back up to you guys.
Okay, Gino, thanks. Coming off the field after the kick is number 75 for Beaver Local. That's Matt Carroll, and he's on the sideline with some sort of injury. Looks like it might be a shoulder or something to that effect. First down for Beaver Local, and the carry that time taken out wide by number 31, Brian Neville. And not anything doing that time as they actually lose 3 yards on the carry to bring up 2nd down now and 13.
Coach Saran's going to have to reach in his bag of tricks here and come up with some play to just get this offense moving. Beaver Local needs a 1st down desperately.
That was Carroll on the sidelines that you just saw a moment ago being worked on by the Beaver Local training staff. So it's 2nd down now and 13. Williamson, your quarterback. Gives the handoff this time inside, and a nice job running that time by number 26, Keith Dunkel. And Dunkel that time picks up some positive yardage for the Beavers as it'll bring up now a 3rd and about 6 situation, so a gain of 7 that time on the carry by Beaver Local. So 3rd down and 6 now for Beaver Local. Let's see what they can do on the 3rd down situation. They desperately need to pick up a 1st down deep inside their own territory once again. Ball on the 19 right now. Williamson at quarterback. They'll send a man in motion this time. That's Neville to the near side. The counter handoff inside goes to number 24, McNear. He gets up over the 30-yard line and up to the 31. So a nice gain that time by McNear, and it'll be good enough for a 1st down for Beaver Local.
Brings a little cheer from the Beaver Local faithful, and they certainly need something to cheer about. Maybe they can get a little drive going here and get back into this football game.
Trailing early, 22-0. Beaver Local on offense, looking to do some damage. 1st and 10, ball on their own 31. The handoff once again inside, this time going to number 31. That is Neville. And Neville will get up near the 35. Stopped at about the 34, so a gain of 3. 2nd down and 7 now for Beaver Local. And really, we noticed after the first 2 drives, and now this being the 3rd time that Beaver Local has had the football, they like to keep the ball on the ground as much as possible. I think when they have to go to the air, they know that they do have some problems throwing the football, so obviously the running game is something that they need to get established in the contest here early on. 2 minutes, 49 seconds still left to play, first quarter. Handoff in the backfield again to Dunkel, and Dunkel is nailed before he even gets back to the line of scrimmage. No gain that time, so to bring up 3rd down and 7 now. Actually 3rd and 8 for Beaver Local. Dunkel nowhere to go that time on the carry. As once again, the Bellaire defense very stingy, not giving up any yards. 3rd down and 8 for Beaver Local on their own 34-yard line. Williamson at quarterback. The tight set behind him. Penalty flags go flying as Williamson drops back. And probably offside one way or the other, or illegal procedure. Waiting for the call from the officials. And we do have some motion going against the Beaver Local offense, so they'll move it back 5 yards, and it'll bring up now 3rd down now, and we'll call it 13. So it'll be 3rd and 13 now for Beaver Local.
It's going to set up a passing situation for Beaver Local, and they basically have an inexperienced young man at quarterback. He shows promise for the future, but he's going to go with the big play here to get the 1st down for the Fighting Beavers.
That's Carroll on the sideline. You see the training staff still working on him, and it looks as if he sustained some sort of injury to maybe his left shoulder, as they've gone ahead and now wrapped his left arm to his body. So as soon as we get an update on Carroll, we will pass that along. Williamson to the air. Pass caught there by Dunkel. He's up across midfield and down to the 48-yard line of Bellaire. So Williamson that time hits Dunkel. He was surrounded by a sea of red, but Williamson just able to pinpoint Dunkel, and he picks up enough yardage for the first down.
Yeah, Brett showed some nice poise on that play, dropped back in the pocket, held his position, delivered a strike to the receiver, and 1st and 10, Fighting Beavers.
So Beaver local for the first time this afternoon moves into Bellaire territory. Ball on the 48-yard line. Williamson sending Dunkel in motion once again to the near side. Hands the ball off in the backfield. That's number 33, Brett Bowser. And Bowser picks up minimal yardage inside, a gain of 2 up to the 46. So it'll be 2nd down now and 8. Ball placed on the 46-yard line. We have 1:10 still left to play here in the first quarter.
Once again, anytime the opponent elects to run the football, Rich Mamie is going to be in the area of that football. He's an outstanding tackler, and he has a nose for the football, and anytime that ball's run up the middle, Mamie's going to be in the area.
So 2nd down and 8. Beaver local on their best drive so far of the afternoon. Williamson dropping back, looking downfield, going over the middle, and caught there by Brad McNear. A good job that time, hitting McNear on the post pattern, and McNear moves the ball inside the 30, down to the 28.
I'll tell you, Beaver Local's been forced to pass the football. Looks like something might be developing here in their offense.
Here's a look at the pass once again. You see Williamson dropping back, just going right over the middle and hitting McNear on the run, hitting him right in stride. Good enough once again for a Beaver local first down. That'll move the chains. First in town for the Fighting Beavers. Ball on the 28-yard line. One man in the backfield once again for Beaver local, that being Brett Bowser. They'll send a man to the near side in motion. That is Neville. Williamson throws it out into the flats that time to Chad Swanson. And Swanson, not much doing at all that time on the carry. A gain of maybe 2 after catching the pass as he gets down to the 26. So we'll call it 2nd down now and 8 after the 2-yard pickup on the pass. Let's send it down to Gino Startari, who's down to the sideline near the injured Beaver local player. Gino.
All right, thanks, Scott. The injured player is senior lineman Matt Carroll. I talked to Gary Phillips, the head trainer here at Beaver Local. Carroll was injured on the last kickoff. They think he might have a broken collarbone. They're going to send him to the hospital and get x-rays. Hopefully, the x-rays will show no broken clavicle. But Matt Carroll is out of the game for Beaver Local. That's not good news for the Fighting Beavers. Up to you.
Okay, Gino, thanks for that report, and we hope the best, of course, for Mr. Carroll, like you mentioned. Hopefully not a serious injury. Well, that's the end of the first quarter here, folks, from Nelson Field in Bellaire. 22-0 in favor of Bellaire after 1 quarter of play. So let's take a break. We'll come back with second quarter action right after this. You're watching the News Channel 7 Game of the Week. Welcome back, everybody, to Nelson Field in Bellaire. Second quarter just about set to get underway. Bellaire leading 22-0 after the first quarter play. Beaver local on their best drive so far of the afternoon. They've moved the ball all the way down to the 26-yard line. Williamson forced to pass once again, rolling out, wants to throw the ball downfield, gets it away to his receiver that time, Brian Neville, and he moves the ball all the way down to the 20-yard line. So a nice job that time by Williamson to elude the pressure and then get the ball away to Neville.
Yeah, Mamie and Weber had some real heat on the quarterback. Brett kept his poise, did a nice job of scrambling, dumped it off, avoided a big loss, and I'll tell you, this kid's looking like the quarterback of the future. Doing a nice job this drive.
Beaver local has looked very, like you mentioned, Tom, this has been their best drive so far of the afternoon, so they're looking pretty good here, already trailing 22-0, but they do need to sustain a nice drive. Third down and short, 3rd-and-3 situation. The handoff inside that time given to Neville. And he carries it down near the 15, and that should be good enough for a Beaver local first down. There is a penalty flag on the far side of the field near the 20-yard line, so I'll have to sort this out and wait and see what the flag's all about. But they do have enough yardage for the first down. Let's wait and see what the penalty is. And it's procedure against Beaver local. There's the replay. You see Neville turning ahead, but that will be negated after the procedure call against Beaver local, so move them back.
Illegal procedure has been called.
It appeared, Scott, that the wide receiver was a little bit in motion, jumped the gun just a little bit, and the linesman threw the flag. They're going to be penalized 5 yards.
So move them back 5. It was a 3rd-and-3. After the 5-yard penalty, it'll be a 3rd down and 8 situation. So with the situation of 3rd and 8 for Beaver Local, see what they elect to do here. Obviously, from a Beaver Local standpoint, you want to try and keep this drive alive and put one in the end zone. Already trailing 22-0. Put some sort of score on the board. 3rd down and 8 now for Beaver Local. Man in motion to the near side is Neville. Williamson will roll out to the far side, looking for his man, number 21. The reception is made, and a nice job to hold onto the ball that time by Steve Hoppel. And there's another penalty flag back near the quarterback, Williamson. I think we have a late hit roughing the quarterback call against Bellaire. So they pick up the 1st down at about the 18-yard line, and now talking things over with Beaver Local about the penalty.
I'll tell you, it appeared Brett Williamson, the quarterback, took a nice shot. It appeared he was going to be injured on the play. He jumped back up. Looks like he's ready to go. Tough young man.
Beaver Local still on this drive, keeping things alive with a nice catch that time by Hoppel. All right, so the penalty, you might be able to hear that at home. They give the defense, against the defense, roughing the passer. Half the distance to the goal, so move the ball deep now into Bellaire territory. Gino Startari's down on the sidelines. Let's send it down to Gino.
Scott, the Beaver Local offense struggled last week. They struggled early on here, but they have 4 first downs in the game. All 4 of those first downs coming on this drive, and what a catch by Mr. Hoppel on that play. Great catch. Back up to you.
You're right, Gino. 1st down and 10 now for Beaver Local. Ball on the Bellaire 12-yard line. Man in motion to the near side, that's Neville. The option to the near side. The pitch in the backfield that time goes to number 26, Keith Dunkel. And Dunkel that time stretched out, and what do you know, there's Rich Mamie once again defensively for Bellaire.
Scott, he's like a magnet to the football. Anytime the football's in the area, Rich Mamie's going to be there. Just an outstanding tackler, as fine as tacklers you're going to see on the high school level.
A loss of 2 that time on the carry by Dunkel. Move it back to the 14-yard line now. 2nd down and 12 now for Beaver Local on the Bellaire 14. So Beaver Local hoping to come out of this drive with some sort of point on the scoreboard. Williamson goes to the air again. His pass intended that time for number 24, Brad McNear. A little bit of contact early on there, but no call. Pass is incomplete. And so to bring up 3rd down and 12. And I think some of the Beaver Local fans are hoping for a little pass interference, but
Tell you, Ben Taylor was on the receiver like a glove. Hit him right after the ball got there, and it was a real close play. Of course, Beaver Local fans are looking for the flag.
So it's 3rd down and 12 now, folks. Ball on the 14. Williamson at quarterback. His team trailing 22-0. That's Neville in motion to the far side. Williamson will roll out to that side, then throw it back to the near side to Brad McNear, and McNear nowhere to go. Once again, Rich Mamie, one of the players over there. Grant Allen also in pursuit that time for Bellaire, and so nothing doing. A pickup of maybe a yard that time, but not much more than that, and it's going to bring up now 4th and 11.
Yeah, Coach Saran's going to have to do something. The rush by Bellaire is just awesome. They're going to have to go to their screen or draw package, something to just take a little bit of this pressure off of quarterback Williamson. He's doing a nice job, but every play you just can't face that constant pressure.
Timeout on the field right now. 4th down at 11 is the situation, and I think already trailing 22-0, I definitely think Coach Saran is going to definitely go for this one. Gino Startari's down on the sideline. Let's send it down to Gino.
Okay, thanks, Scott. We came into this game today on paper. This is a major mismatch, and everyone knows that in the Valley. The score right now indicates that 22-0. I talked to Coach John Magistro from Bellaire, and I said, Coach, is there anything about Beaver Local that scares you? And he said one word, Gino. He says they're spunky. And I said, spunky? What do you mean by that, Coach? He said, because when you get this football team down, they have a tendency of coming back. This team does not let up. And the Fighting Beavers right now, although they're losing 22-0 right here, the offense has shown a lot of belly button. 4 first downs on this current drive, and they're starting to put some pressure on that Bellaire defense. But 4th and 11, they need another big play here at the 13-yard line. They got to pick up some points to keep this a game. Right now, 22-0, but as Coach Magistro said, Beaver Local is a spunky team. They're showing some belly button right now. They're not giving up. It's 22-0. Back up to you.
Okay, Gino, I think, Tom, also for Beaver Local, this is a drive where you need to come away with something. It's being their best drive so far this afternoon. I think it would be very helpful to their cause if they could put some sort of score on the board.
Yeah, if they're going to have any chance today, they need to get something on the board very quickly.
So 4th down and 11, ball on the 13. They need to get to the 2-yard line for a 1st and goal situation. Already trailing 22-0. Let's see what Coach Saran and his staff came up with here for the 4th down opportunity. They'll go to the air towards the end zone, and the ball is tipped away that time by Ty Mascarelli, and a pass was intended that time to number 21, Steve Hopple, but it falls incomplete. Mascarelli, a nice job that time to get his hand up and just tip the ball away, so it'll now be 1st down and 10 Bellaire. They'll take over on their own 13 after the turnover on downs by Beaver Local, but really a nice job that time offensively by the Fighting Beavers to move the ball. They did a nice job that time moving the ball down the field all the way to the Bellaire 13-yard line.
Yeah, most importantly, they kept the ball out of Jose Davis's hands. You got to keep the ball away from him. You put it in his hands and some things are going to happen.
So here is Jose Davis in the Bellaire offense once again. They'll give the handoff up inside this time. Rich Mamie, the ball carrier. He dances across the 15 and up to about the 18, so a pickup of nearly 5 that time on 1st down. It'll bring up 2nd down and 5 now after the 5-yard gain. Clock continuing to turn. We have 9 minutes still left to play here in the 2nd quarter. 22-0 in favor of Bellaire. If you've just joined us, Tom Bechtel along with Scott Nolly right here and Gino Startari down on the sidelines. Glad you could join us once again, folks, for the News Channel 7 Game of the Week. And if you haven't had a chance to see Bellaire yet this year, they're putting on another offensive show this afternoon. Hand off to Bobby Roth. He's got some open field across the 40 and up to the 45 before he's finally brought down. But Roth carrying the ball all the way from the 18 up near the 44-yard line. A nice job that time by Bobby Roth to move it forward for Bellaire. And as I was just mentioning how explosive Bellaire's offense is, Bobby Roth rattles off the big yardage. So Bellaire in motion once again, moving the ball forward. 1st and 10 on their own 44-yard line. Davis will hand it off this time to Mamie in the backfield. He should have been tackled for a loss, but instead gains 2 up to the 46-yard line, and you just see the good offensive effort that time by Bellaire's tailbacks. Always looking for the open hole, and that time Mamie able to move up across the 45-yard line and up to about the 47. We'll give him a gain of 3, 2nd down and 7.
That was a nice little juke step by Rich. He really didn't have an opening, but he made about a 3-yard gain out of nothing, and once again shows his athleticism.
So it's 2nd down and 7 now, Bellaire. Ball on the 47-yard line. Davis will hand it off inside to Roth, and Roth will bang his head forward up near midfield to about the 49, so another gain of 2. And it's going to bring up 3rd down and 5 now for Bellaire. Ball resting on the 49-yard line. They need to pick a ball about 5 yards, that is, for another 1st down.
I think they just set the record for the most consecutive run plays this season, Scott. That's the first time they've ran 3 or 4 in a row early in this season.
I think you could be right, Tom. They're keeping it on the ground so far early on in this drive. See if Jose decides to go to the air this time. Yeah, they'll throw it. Davis over the middle to Roth. And that's going to be close, folks, to a 1st down. He needed to get to about the 46. They're going to spot him at the 47. I think they're going to be about a yard shy. And
looks like Coach Magistro is going to make his first decision of the afternoon.
Do you go for it here, or do you go ahead and punt the ball away? I think with the offense you have, you know a yard is almost a given. And with that in mind, they're going to go ahead and try the 4th down opportunity for a 1st down. 4th and 1, ball on the 47. Bellaire with the eye set this time behind Davis. They pulled Beaver Local offside.
Yeah, they get the 1st down the easy way. Beaver Local a little bit over anxious, jumps the gun.
You don't want to do that. There you see the call. An offside against Beaver Local. You don't want to do that, folks. You're already having enough problems just trying to keep them out of the end zone by them just moving the ball themselves. You don't want to give anything up to Bellaire by a penalty. And that's what Beaver Local did that time. So it's 1st down and 10 now for Bellaire. Ball on the 42-yard line. And Davis rolling out, looking downfield. He's got a man. Dusty Kinder can't come up with a reception. as the ball falls incomplete. So to bring up 2nd down and 10, but Davis going to the air once again. His pass intended that time for Dusty Kinder.
Davis showed some slick ball hang on that play. Shows another aspect of his game. He has the complete package. He can run, he can pass, and he also has some slick ball handling.
So to bring up now 2nd down and 10 for Bellaire. Clock stops with 6 minutes and 19 seconds still to play before the half. 22-0 is your score right now in favor of the Big Reds. I set behind Jose Davis, and they will hand the ball off. Back inside to Rich Mamie, and he'll get up across the 40 and down to about the 39. Tackle that time by Bowser. And with the 3-yard gain up to the 39, it'll bring up 3rd down now and 7 for Bellaire. Let's see what Coach Magistro has in mind for his offense this time. Davis will drop back and go to the air again. Throws it out that time to Bobby Roth, who does a nice job to stay up, but he's going to fall about a yard short, so it's going to bring up another 4th and 1 situation for Bellaire.
I'll tell you, Scott, the Bellaire Big Reds really stretch out the defense. They had 5 receivers out on that play, and it's tough for any high school football team to cover that amount of receivers. He was the 5th man out of the backfield, and it's just awful, awful tough, especially when you have a quarterback the caliber of Jose Davis.
So it's 4th and actually 2 now for Bellaire. They have it on the 33, needing to move it to the 31 for a 1st down. So hand it off to Mamie, and he's got a hole. Across the 30 and down to the 25, all the way to the 24 before he's finally stopped. That'll be good enough for another Bellaire 1st down. So it's 1st and 10 again as they continue to move the ball. Does Bellaire. And they'll stretch the change down the field again. So 1st and 10, Bellaire already leading 22-0 here in the 2nd quarter of play. Davis at quarterback. Fakes the handoff, rolls out to the near side. Looking downfield, now he's going to tuck it under and just decide to carry it. And he'll move it forward up to about the 22-yard line. Wanted to throw the ball downfield, a gain of maybe 1 that time on the carry by Jose Davis. But a good job that time by the Beaver local defense to stay with the receivers and really not giving Davis the opportunity to unleash his arm. So to bring up a 2nd down and 9 situation after the 1-yard gain. They'll send 2 receivers to the far side, keeping Mamie and Roth in the backfield behind quarterback Jose Davis. Davis dropping back, wanting to go downfield. Pursued by the defense. Will throw it just out of bounds that time. He was looking that way, and he just decided to go ahead and loft it out of bounds.
Yeah, I think the intended receiver was Zorfos, but the ball was obviously well overthrown. Wise decision by Jose. Dump the ball off, brings up a 3rd down and 9, and still that's a good play situation for Bellaire.
So it's 39, ball on the 22-yard line. 3 minutes and 58 seconds still left to play here in the 2nd quarter. Bellaire already leading 22-0, looking to put some more points on the scoreboard. Davis at quarterback, dropping back, looking downfield, pursued in the backfield once again. He's going to roll out and just decides to tuck it under and gets up to the 20. A gain of 2 that time, but another nice job that time by Beaver Local's defense. Not allowing Jose Davis to throw the football.
Yeah, the defensive backs for Beaver Local have done a nice job on this drive. They're getting good coverage, but unfortunately Davis just has all kind of time. He creates his own time, and he's just a tough quarterback to deal with, and obviously it's been a long afternoon already for Beaver Local, and if they can't contain Davis, it's going to be even longer one.
So it's 4th down now and 6 for Bellaire, and another 4th down opportunity. This is the 3rd time that they have gone for 4th down so far in this current drive. This time needing more than just a yard or 2. They need 6. 4th and 6, ball on the 19. Davis rolling out to the far side. He's got his man Bobby Roth open. Roth will scoot all the way down to the 2-yard line before he's finally stopped, but good enough yardage for a 1st and goal situation for Bellaire.
I'll tell you, it was a good play called by Coach Magistro. That play was open. It appeared Davis could have ran for the 1st down, but he wisely elected to dump the ball off, and Bellaire's in a scoring situation once again.
So the ball now lying on the 2-yard line. First and goal situation. 3 minutes and 3 seconds still left to play before the end of the first half. And Bellaire already up by a count of 22-0, looking to put more on the board. Beaver Local is going to take a timeout, wanting to talk things over defensively. They have done a good job here, really, forcing Bellaire to have to go for it 3 times so far on 4th down, but unfortunately for the Beavers, Bellaire's picked it up each time.
Yeah, I think, according to my unofficial stats, Belaire's 4 for 4 on 4th down situations, and that's the mark of a very good football team.
Well, let's take a break right now, folks. Bellaire leading 22-0 with a first and goal situation. 3 minutes and 3 seconds still left to play before half. Back with more right after this on the News Channel 7 Game of the Week. Welcome back, everybody, to Nelson Field. First and goal for Bellaire. Ball on the 2-yard line, leading 22-0, looking to put a few more points on the board before halftime. 3 minutes and 3 seconds still left to play before half. Now let's see what the Big Reds offense does here on first and goal. Pitch in the backfield to Rich Mamie, and he's in. Touchdown. Rich Mamie goes in from 2 yards out. And Bellaire now leads 28-0 as we await the point after touchdown.
Nice kick out block by Jason Meyers. He's the big right guard, goes about 240 pounds. He's the strongest Big Red, and I'll tell you, he led the blocking him, and just an outstanding effort by the Big Reds to get the ball in the end zone.
So Bellaire now leading 28-0, and they'll attempt the kick once again as P.J. Bomber will come out. His holder's number 83. That, of course, Bobby Timberlake. Snap is high. Timberlake gets it down. The kick is up. And it is good. So with 2 minutes and 59 seconds still left to play here before half, it's now 29-0 in favor of Bellaire. And let's send it down to Gino Startari, who's down on the sidelines. Gino.
Okay, thanks, Scott. You know, everyone talks about Rich Mamie. He is the best defensive player on this Bellaire football team, and rightly so. He's broken every tackling record that Lance Mel, who went on to play with the New York Jets, he broke every tackling record here at Bellaire. He is a great defensive player, but don't forget, this kid can also run the football. A week ago against St. Clairsville, he had 87 yards on 12 carries, so he can run the football. And, of course, he got a lot of playing time last year, as well as Bobby Roth, when Scotty Pitts went down with an injury, as well as Casey Coyne. So don't forget that Rich Mamie's not a bad offensive player as well. He's also the best defensive player. He's a special talent. Back up to you guys.
Okay, Gino, thanks. And, you know, Tom, Gino, talking about Rich Mamie, and he is a special talent, not only offensively, but also defensively. He can just play on either side of the ball.
No doubt about it. He's a 3-year starter, and when you come to a program like Bellaire with the outstanding success they've had, they've only lost 4 regular season games in the last 3 years, so obviously you have to be a special person to start as a sophomore, and he not only started, he was their leading tackler as a sophomore.
So Balmer set to put the ball back in the air once again. High end over end kick, though, to come down to Popelreiner. He's got some blockers up in front of him. Moves up across the 25-yard line and up to the 30-yard line. So it'll be good field position for Beaver Locals. They start this drive, 1st and 10 on their own 30, trailing by 29 points. It's 29-0 in favor of Bellaire. 2 minutes and 51 seconds still left to go here before halftime. And we'll see what Coach Sharon's Beavers can do on this drive. The last time they did have the football, it was their best offensive drive so far the afternoon, moving the ball all the way deep down into Bellaire territory, reaching as far as the 12-yard line of Bellaire before they had to turn it over on downs, and that's where the last Bellaire scoring drive began, was on their own 13-yard line, actually. So it's 1st and 10 now, Beaver Local. They'll send their man in motion, and Williamson will run the option to the near side. Pitches it back into the backfield that time to Neville, who breaks a tackle up across the 40, continues to break tackles up across the 50, and all the way down to the 47-yard line. So a nice running nut job that time by Brian Neville, and a good job also by Williamson to hold onto the ball as late as possible.
Yeah, a lot of the credit on that play has to go to the quarterback, Brett Williamson. He did a nice job of holding the ball to the last possible second, pitched it out, and the running back took it from there.
A good gain that time, all the way down to the 47-yard line of Bellaire. So a 23-yard gain that time by Neville. They'll send Dunkel in motion to the far side, and they'll run to the option to the far side this time. Pitch it back to Neville again. And he's got some open field, breaking tackles across the 30. Down inside the 20, all the way down to the 10-yard line before he's finally brought down. So what do you know? Beaver Local may have just found their offense in the option.
Good play selection. The option worked one time to the left, come right back, run it to the right side. Good play called by Beaver Local, and looks like they're in business down around the 11-yard line.
So it'll be 1st and 10, ball on the 11-yard line. Gino Startari's down on the sideline. Not a bad job with the option.
Well, it's funny, Scott. It was playing against the second-team defense of Bellaire. Across the middle, they have a man. Touchdown. Beaver Local has just cracked the scoreboard. Brad McNear, the touchdown reception from 11 yards out. It's funny that on that drive, the whole drive, Beaver Local's offense was going against Bellaire's second-team defense. And as soon as that play was off, John Magistro hurried up and got his first-team defense in there, but a little too late. 11-yard touchdown pass, and Beaver Local's on the board. Back up to you.
Okay, Gino, you have Brad McNear on the other end of the pass that time from Williamson, so Beaver Local does finally crack the scoreboard, and I don't think it matters much to Beaver Local right now whether it was the first, second, or third-team defense in there for Bellaire. All they care about is that they're finally on the scoreboard before the half.
That was a well-executed drive. That's about as well as you can move the football down the field and as quickly as you can do it.
Bill Jones will attempt the PAT. The kick is up, and it is good. So Beaver Local strikes right back after that touchdown by Bellaire. It's now 29-7 with 1:45 still left to play here in the first half. So the Fighting Beavers put themselves on the scoreboard in a nice drive that time. Took only 3 plays to move the ball all the way from their own 30. So a 3-play, 70-yard drive, and most of those yards coming on the 2 options to the right and to the left by Mr. Brian Neville. So it'll be interesting, Tom, the next time Beaver Local has the football as to whether they decide to try and continue to stick with that option attack.
Yeah, I think Beaver Local has found a couple places that are a little soft in the Bellaire defense. Those 2 plays developed real nicely, and gives them a little bit of something encouraging. Halftime gives them a little upper, and I'll tell you, I think maybe they'll turn around just a little bit here and have a little bit better football game.
Now Beaver Local will be ready to kick the football off here. Bill Jones will be putting the ball back into play for the Beavers. And we'll see what Bellaire can do offensively as they'll get the football back with 1:45 still left to play. And anytime there's just any bit of time still left on the clock, Bellaire definitely has a good opportunity to try and score. So 1:45 still left to play here in the opening half. Bill Jones will be putting the football back into play. And a ball that'll drop and actually go up over one of the Bellaire players. Comes all the way back inside the 5-yard line before it's finally picked up that time.
Looks like that's number 15, Clint Lacondis. Handled the football for the Big Reds.
Actually went up over Clint's head the first time and rolled all the way back inside the 5-yard line before he finally went back and picked the ball up, moving it out to the 11. So it'll be 1st down and 10 now for Bellaire. Ball on their own 11-yard line. 1.5 still left to play here in the opening half. Jose Davis at quarterback. Looking out, has his man Ben Taylor. And Taylor will move the chains as he gets up across the 20-yard line. Up to about the 22. That'll be good enough for a Bellaire 1st down. Up to the 22-yard line.
I'll tell you, Bellaire has an interesting offense. Most teams would elect to sit on the ball this late in the game in the first half, just go in and be content with a 29-7 lead. Not the Bellaire Big Reds. Coach Magistro and the Big Reds come out firing.
Clock continuing to turn. We're down to almost 1 minute left to play here in the first half as they throw it out to Taylor at about the 27-yard line. So it'll be a 5-yard pickup that time on 1st down. It'll bring up 2nd down now and 5. And we have a timeout taken by Bellaire. So they'll stop the clock with 53 seconds still left to play here in the opening half. Already leading by 22 at 29-7. Gino Startari's down on the sidelines. Let's send it down to Gino.
All right, Scott. Tom Bechtel made a very interesting point. He said that most offenses would sit on the football. He's absolutely right. But, folks, you're not looking at most offenses here today. The Bellaire Big Reds have the best offense in the Ohio Valley. And if anybody can go 89 yards in a 1.5 it's Jose Davis and crew. Bellaire, they can pass the ball anytime they want. It's funny. It seems as if this sideline, I'm on the Bellaire sideline right now, it seems as if they're They're a little bit upset they gave up a touchdown, their first touchdown of the year. They want that touchdown back. Although they have a 29-7 lead, they're a hungry football team. They play with a lot of pride, and since they gave that touchdown up late in the half, they want to pick another touchdown up for the offense. 53 seconds to go, they're up 29-7. As I said, if any offense can go the length of the field in a minute and a half, it's this pro-like offense from Bellaire. Back up to you guys.
Okay, Gino, thanks, and that is an interesting point that you bring up. Beaver Local has to be happy to some extent, but I'm sure not very happy that is the first touchdown that Bellaire has given up so far this year, and they are the first team to crack the scoreboard against the Big Reds. Davis to pass to the air to Mamie. Makes the catch, but he was out of bounds when he came down. I think he may have gotten 1 foot in bounds, but I think when he went to get his other foot down, he was already well out of bounds. So it'll bring up 3rd down now and 6. And there is a penalty flag back at about the 23-yard line. So let's see what this is all about with 46 seconds still left to play here in the opening half. We'll see what happens here with the penalty flag. Holding is the call against Bellaire. So the penalty will move the Big Reds back. Bellaire electing to go to the air that time, trying to go down the sidelines on that last play to Rich Mamie, so I think they wanted to be able to pick up enough yardage and then stop the clock by allowing Mamie to go out of bounds, but with the holding call, it'll move them back, and it'll be 2nd down once again, but after the penalty, it's 2nd down now and 20. Davis to pass. Looking over the middle, has his pass and is completed up across the 20-yard line and up to the 22-yard line. So they pick up about 10 yards that time on the catch. And we have a official's time as the players are a little slow to get up. And we do have a timeout on the field also. Ben Taylor was the receiver that time on the pass from Jose Davis.
I'll tell you, Scott, Jose's an amazing athlete. He actually sidearmed the ball on that pass. He was under a little bit of pressure there. His receiver as well was under some pressure. There was 3 defenders of Beaver Local in the area. Jose sidearmed the football, put it right on target, and I'll tell you, Benny Taylor in his first 2 weeks really showed that he's going to be one of the leading receivers in the High Valley. He's a young junior, but he's quite a football player and has shown an ability to catch the ball in traffic.
So there's 34 seconds still left to play. It's 3rd down and actually 9, so it's 3rd down and 9 for Bellaire with 34 seconds still left to play. Ball resting right now at about the 23-yard line, and we'll see what Coach Magistro can cook up for his offense as they break the huddle on the far side of the field and head back to the line of scrimmage.
Coach Magistro shows a lot of confidence in Jose Davis. Once again, most offenses, after the holding penalty, deep in their own territory, they'd be content just to take a knee and run out the half. But not Bellaire. They're going to come out firing.
Bellaire will fire. They'll go to the air again. Looking for Bobby Timberlake, and Davis has him up at the 46-yard line where he goes out of bounds. And they only move 6 seconds off the clock. We have 28 seconds still left to play here in the first half, and that'll be good enough for a Bellaire first down and move the chains up to the 45. They'll spot him out at the 45-yard line.
I tell you, Bellaire has a share the wealth type offense. Last week, I think they had 7 receivers catch the football. This week, they're on target to do that once again. Everybody in the offense that's an eligible receiver is going to see the football.
And they're playing the clock beautifully. Davis to the air once again. Goes over the middle. This time to Taylor. Turns it back up inside. Breaks a couple of tackles. Gets up to the 40-yard line, and that's all he'll get. Good enough for a first down, so they'll move the chains once again with 16 seconds still left to play here in the opening half, 29-7 in favor of Bellaire as they move the ball up to the 40, and you see Bellaire's offense already set at the line of scrimmage. As soon as they blow the whistle, they're ready to go with another play. The clock turns. You see it on your screen, and Davis just elects to ground the football as he fires it in, and that'll stop the clock and bring up 2nd down now and 10 with 12 seconds still left to play.
Interesting side note there, Scott. This is the first year in high school football that play is legal. In the past, that would have been intentional grounding. With the new change in high school, they have the same rule as the pros and the collegiate level. And interestingly enough, Jose Davis takes advantage of the new rule change.
It's nice to see that, I think, in high school because it gives the offenses opportunity late in a ball game when maybe they don't have any timeouts left, the opportunity to stop the clock and set up a chance for them to put some more points on the board. Davis to pass again. Looking down. Over the middle, Bobby Timberlake. Nice catch. All the way down to their 16. And the clock has 6 seconds left. Davis is screaming at his offense to get up to the line of scrimmage. There's 6 seconds left. They'll need to just set up and ground the football once again, but I think they have enough timeouts that they can go ahead and take one. Yes, I think that's their final timeout of the half.
It'll be interesting to see if Coach Magistro makes a decision to throw the ball once again, or they may set up Bomber. It'd be a fairly long field goal kick of about 33 or 34 yards, but we'll see here what decisions made by Coach Magistro in the huddle.
So it's 1st and 10 for Bellaire, but more importantly, just 6 seconds remaining here in the opening half. 29-7 is your score in favor of the Big Reds. And Jose Davis, I tell you what, running the 2-minute offense, if you will, to perfection, moving his team downfield. And this is an opportunity not only for Bellaire to try and put some more points on the board, but it's an opportunity for them that if they are in a game later in the year where it might be a closer game, where it might be maybe a 14-12 situation, and they needed to get into field goal range. Right now, Davis showing that he has the ability to stay cool and move his offense downfield.
Well, let's face it, they have a tough meat grinder type schedule. They're going to play Ironton, they're going to play Brook, they're going to play Cambridge, Martins Ferry. They're going to need to do these types of things, and right now Davis looks like Dan Marino, cool, calm in the pocket.
You mentioned that Ironton game. That's a game you'll be able to see exclusively right here on News Channel 7 later in the year. It comes October 28th. It'll be played. The replay will come up October 29th exclusively on News Channel 7 when Bellaire hosts Ironton here at Nelson Field. Taylor in motion. Let's see what they elect to do. Clock ticking, 4 seconds to the end zone for Dusty Kinder. Just a little long, but folks, there's still a second left. So 1 second still have to go. 29-7 in favor of Bellaire, and Jose Davis will have one more crack at the end zone, Tom.
Yeah, it was just a little bit overthrown there. Kinder was open briefly, and yeah, conveniently the home field advantage. Although it looks like we have a little
got a penalty
on the
flag,
field there.
yeah. First that I've noticed it too. So there is a penalty flag at the 20-yard line, and holding is the call against Bellaire. So I was going to say maybe they'd come out and line up for a field goal, but not after the penalty call. I thought maybe with 1 second left, Bellaire may just elect to bring Bomber out onto the field and go ahead and try the kick, but not after the penalty moves him all the way back to the 30-yard line. So 1 second left, and Jose Davis will have another opportunity to throw it to his wideouts as they head towards the end zone. That's Taylor and Kinder to the near side. Taylor will go in motion now to the far side, joining Bobby Timberlake, who's also lined up as a wide receiver. Davis, good time, going to the end zone. He has Kinder, makes the reception, but he goes out of bounds at the 2-yard line. So Dusty Kinder that time makes a great catch, but he gets it to the 2-yard line, and that brings a close to the first half as Kinder and the rest of the Bellaire Big Reds head to the locker room. We got a player down for Beaver Local at about the 39-yard line. Can't get a number. We'll try and update his status coming up during our halftime report. We are at halftime, though. Your score, 29-7 in favor of Bellaire after 1 half of play. We'll take a break and come back with some first half thoughts right after this. You're watching the News Channel 7 Game of the Week. And welcome back, everybody, to Nelson Field in Bellaire. 29-7 is our halftime score. We're set for the second half kickoff here, with Bellaire leading by 22. So Beaver Local will get the ball starting here on the beginning of the second half. And P.J. Bomber, your kicker. Floater that drops down at about the 20 and will roll out of bounds. So the flags will come down, and looks as if Beaver Local will just take the spot. So 1st and 10 for Beaver Local as they'll take the ball here. The beginning of the second half, third quarter. And Tom, I think early on, obviously, Beaver Local trailing here 29-7, but they do want to try, if you can, and get something going here on their first drive of the afternoon. Before we talk about that, folks, here's our upcoming games of the week. Next week, Bishop Donahue and Bellaire St. John's, Lindsley and Steubenville Central the following week, say Shadyside and St. John's. Then you see our second West Liberty game of the year. Also down at the bottom, you see Bellaire and Ironton. That's part of our double header that we'll have along with Lindsley and Wheeling Central. Those games, of course, all Saturday games. They'll be replayed Sunday. You see the times beside each game. The double header Sunday coming up, Lindsley and Wheeling Central, followed by Ironton and Bellaire. That is October the 29th, so you'll definitely want to mark that down. Exclusive coverage here on News Channel 7. So it's 1st down and 10 for Beaver Local. Ball on their own 35. And it helps if you go underneath center, right? Well, they throw the ball up over the middle, and it's nearly intercepted that time. Williamson's pass that time intended for Brian Neville. And Bellaire almost comes up with a pickoff.
Yeah, that was rather cute, Scott. Got a little chuckle from the crowd. Williamson was lining up over the right guard and realized his mistake and quickly recovered.
Sure, the right guard wondered what was going on at that point. Second down now and 10. The handoff in the backfield. This time they go to Neville. And Neville not much doing that time. Ball is on the ground, but I think it's forward progress. He'd already been stopped, so it's it'll be third down now and 10 as he barely gets back to the line of scrimmage. They'll give him a slight gain of 1 up to the 36. So we'll call it third down and 9 for Beaver Local here on their opening drive of the second half. 29-7, our third quarter score. 11 minutes and 30 seconds still left to play as we are just underway here in the third quarter. Beaver Local's quarterback, that is Brett Williamson. Sending a man in motion, that's Dunkel to the far side. They'll run the option, which was very effective for him to round out the first half, and that time the pitch into the backfield to Neville and nothing doing. A loss of 1 on the carry.
Dusty Kinner did a nice job. He closed quickly on the play, made the quarterback release the ball a little quicker than they would have liked to, and just no opening for the Beaver Local offense.
So it's going to be fourth down and 10 now for Beaver Local, and they'll have to quickly give the ball right back over to Bellaire's offense. And so Jose Davis will get a crack here early on to open up the his first drive of the second half. So Bill Jones comes in now to do the punting for Beaver Local. A bad snap that dribbles actually back to him. He does a nice job just to get the kick away. Travels just across the 50, then bounds back into Beaver Local territory, where Dustin Hassan comes and grabs the ball and downs it at the Beaver Local 48-yard line. So what do you know, Bellaire with fantastic field position to begin their first drive of the second half. So it'll be first down and 10 for Bellaire. Ball actually now marked on the Beaver Local 47-yard line. 10.5 minutes left to play here in the third quarter. 29-7 in favor of Bellaire. Let's see what Jose Davis and the rest of the Big Reds offense can do here on their first drive of the third quarter. They'll send 2 wideouts to the far side. Split backfield behind Davis. He'll drop back and look downfield. It's his man Ben Taylor who drops the football. Taylor was already making a cut before he actually had his hands on the ball, and it'll fall incomplete. Second down and 10.
Yeah, Davis did a nice job of delivering the football to Taylor. He's normally a sure-handed receiver, but that one got away from his grasp.
So it'll be second down now and 10 for Bellaire. Already up by 22 points. He struck quickly in the first quarter and then only put one more touchdown that does on the board in the second quarter. So Bellaire had 22 points in the first quarter. Handoff to Mamie. Some good running room across the far side and able to stay in bounds long enough to pick up the first down as he gets across the 40-yard line, and they'll mark him out, looks like at about the 33. So it'll be first down and 10, now actually up to the 32. First and 10 for Bellaire. Ball on the 32-yard line, already leading 29-7. So Rich Mamie turning it on that time, getting around the corner, picking up enough yardage for the first down. Davis drops back, looking over the middle, pass intended for Ben Taylor, and we're going to have an interference call as Taylor was hit before the ball got there. Defensive pressure that time given by Dan Gallagher and Brad McNear.
It was a nice call by the back judge. Looked like the defender from Beaver Local was riding throughout the pass route, and Jose delivered the ball, and of course the flags flew.
So the penalty, pass interference, the call against the defense for Beaver Local. Give them 15 yards at the first down. That's going to move the ball down to the 17-yard line, and it'll be first down and 10 for Bellaire on the 17. So first down and 10, Bellaire, ball on the 17. Split backfield with Roth and Mamie behind Jose Davis, your quarterback. And he'll give the handoff to Mamie with Roth blocking in front of him. Mamie, touchdown! Bobby Roth, a nice job to spring him, giving him that key block to knock him right into the end zone. And so Bellaire, the first time they touch it in the third quarter, they put him into the end zone.
Let's hold on a second here, Scott. There's a yellow hanky on the field. Preliminary indication by the referee, holding. Going to bring back a nice run by Richie Mamie.
Nice run that time, but the holding penalty would negate the touchdown. And they are marching the ball back. It was on the 17. It was a 1st and 10 situation for Bellaire after a pass interference call. And holding is the call against Bellaire. So they'll mark him from the spot of the foul, which apparently was at about the 21-yard line. And so that'll move it back to the 31 after the 10-yard penalty. So it brings up 1st and 24, ball on the 31. They need to get down to the 7. So Rich Mamie looked like he had his 2nd touchdown of the afternoon running the ball, and that time negated after the holding penalty against the Bellaire offense. Nice job that time, though, blocking-wise by at least Bobby Roth. Now, we don't know about the rest of the guys. There must have been at least somebody holding out there. 1st and 24. Davis wants to go to the air. Looking downfield, he's got Bobby Timberlake, but he overthrows him. Just a little bit too far out of Bobby Timberlake's grasp that time. So it falls incomplete and brings up 2nd down and 24, stopping the clock with 9 minutes and 43 seconds still left to play here in the 3rd quarter. 29-7 in favor of Bellaire. Now Jose Davis quickly brings Bellaire back up to the offensive line. They don't waste much time in the huddle. And on 2nd and 24, Jose drops back, pressured once again, steps up in the pocket, looking over the middle, has his man Ben Taylor down to the 15-yard line. They'll still need about 8 more yards to pick up another 1st down. It's going to bring up 3rd down, and we'll call it 8. After the pass that time, good enough for about 16 yards up to the 15-yard line, and it's going to bring up 3rd and 8. Ball on the 15.
I think that play there showed why Jose is being coveted by the major colleges as a quarterback. He showed nice poise, stepped up in the pocket, avoided the rush, delivered the ball calmly. That's about as cool as calm as you're going to see a high school quarterback deliver the football.
You never seem to see Jose Davis rattled or anything like that. He always looks as if he is under control and very calm about every situation. Taylor, the man in motion, coming back over to the near side. That's Davis. Got a man open. Now he decides to just tuck it and run. He'll get down to the 10-yard line, so it's a gain of 5, but it's going to bring up a 3rd and 3 situation. They need the 7-yard line. So Davis will be just a little bit short.
Davis was a little slow getting up on that play. He appears to be all right, but he was down just a little bit, and I'm sure that would offer some concerns for Coach Magistro and his staff.
I think, too, if Davis would have decided to run maybe a split second earlier, he may have been able to at least pick up enough yardage for the 1st down, or possibly have danced all the way into the end zone, but he decided just a second too late, I think, that he wanted to finally decide and run the football after he elected that there was nobody open to throw to. So it's 4th and 3. Bellaire was very successful on 4th down on the 1st half, picking up 3 on 1 touchdown drive. Davis rolls out, got a man, Taylor. Down to about the 5. I think they'll give him the 5. Looks like they're spotting at about the 6. That would be good enough for a 1st down. They'd have about a yard too many for the 1st down. They needed the 7, and yes, that is a 1st down at the 6-yard line. Looked as if that time he had Mamie open also, and he probably could have elected to just tuck it and run with it, but decides that time to toss it over the middle to Ben Taylor, and he picks up 4 yards. That's enough for a Bellaire 1st down, 1st and goal on the 6.
I think Jose had about 3 options that play. Amirani, the flanker, cutting across deep, appeared to be open, and Jose wisely chose to throw the ball to Taylor. He's a sure-handed receiver, and they're in scoring situation.
1st and goal. Davis rolling out to the near side of the end zone to Kinder. Touchdown, Bellaire. So after they looked like they had a touchdown, the holding penalty brought it back, but they strike again. The pass from Davis to Dusty Kinder for the 6. 35-7 now in favor of Bellaire as we await the point after touchdown.
That's Dusty's 3rd touchdown reception of the afternoon. Not a bad day for a tight end.
So P.J. Bomber will come back out onto the field, and he'll be attempting the kick here to put Bellaire up by a count of 36-7. The snap is good, the hold is down, the kick is up, and it's no good. So Bomber misses the PAT, but nevertheless, Bellaire strikes again, and they now lead 35-7 with 7 minutes and 36 seconds still left to play here in the 3rd quarter. Let's take a break. We'll come back with more 3rd quarter action right after this on the News Channel 7 Game of the Week. Welcome back to Nelson Field, everybody. There's the Beaver local Fighting Beaver marching band. In the stands today at Nelson Field, not too much to cheer about on the scoreboard, but looks like they're enjoying themselves nevertheless this afternoon. Their team down 35-7. McNear will take Bomber's kick back at his own 10-yard line. Makes a cut to get outside. He's got some open field up over the 30. He's finally brought down at the 35-yard line that time, but a nice job by McNear to move outside. And so it'll be first down and 10 now for Beaver Local. Ball on their own 35-yard line. We do have a couple of penalty flags on the field at about the 34. Clipping is the call against Beaver. So that will bring the nice run back. They had the ball at about the 35, but after the clipping penalty, that'll move them back.
I tell the Fighting Beavers today just can't seem to get a break. If it wasn't for bad luck, they wouldn't have any luck at all today, Scott.
It does seem like every time they do something that looks promising, you look and there's either a penalty flag or something to that nature on the field. So unfortunately for Beaver Local, after the nice return, they'll move them back inside the 20 down to the 16. Gino Startari is on the sidelines, and let's go down to Gino.
Okay, thanks, Scott. We all know what kind of pride they have in sports here at Bellaire High School, not only in football, but all the sports. Today at halftime was their 13th annual 1995 Hall of Fame and Wall of Fame inductions. And two Hall of Fame inductees today, of course, Joey Galloway, now at the Seahawks, and Pete Woods was inducted today. If you recall, Pete Woods played baseball and football here. He's a graduate in 1988. And oh, by the way, Pete Woods' brother, Scott Woods, threw a lot of passes to Joey Galloway. So it's kind of ironic those two inducted on the same day. Also, the Wall of Fame inductees, Jim Capito, class of 58, Kathy Crumbly, 64 class, Lou Fisher, 81 class, Tom Ford's 1954, Bob Kreider, 1971, Steve Polinsky, and also John Magistro, the head coach of Bellaire, who graduated from Bell St. John in 1966. Well, they inducted him today to the Wall of Fame. I think he deserves it. What about you guys? What do you think?
Yeah, I think John Magistro deserves to be inducted into the Wall of Fame here at Bellaire, even though he might be from that crosstown school here, or cross-street school as it is, I guess, here in the town of Bellaire. This is second down for Beaver Local. A nice running effort, though, that time by Dunkel, who caught the pass out into the flats and just carrying a couple of big reds on his back, but we do have penalty flags on the field back at about the 17-yard line, so let's wait and see what the situation is here. Nice job that time, though, by Dunkel to just carry some folks up to about the 25-yard line. The officials are still talking it over. So let's wait and see what the officials have here for us. And here is the call. It's a holding penalty against Bellaire. So defensive holding that time, and so that'll help Beaver Local out even more. So it was a 2nd and 9 situation. They had gained the ball up to the 25-yard line. And Gino Startar, you have more for us.
Yeah, some continuing thoughts on that Hall of Fame and Wall of Fame inductees. You know, Coach Magistro was a 1966 graduate of Bell St. John's, and I told him, I said, Coach, I said 1966, that was the great year I was born. So he's shown his age right there. Also recognized today the 1972 district baseball champions. They were coached by a man named Terry Snively. Terry Snively, now the head football coach at River High School, and yeah, Coach Snively showing his age as well. The 1980 district track champions honored today, as well as the 85 district track champions. A lot of pride in their sports here at Bellaire. Back to you, Scott.
Okay, Gino, thanks. And the penalty gives a first down situation now to Beaver Local. Williamson dropping back, looking, has his man Neville this time, who sheds a tackle and gets up across the 30-yard line and up to about the 31-yard line. So a gain of about 3 that time on the reception. It'll be now 2nd down and 7 for Beaver Local. And right now they're moving the ball, thanks a little bit in part to the penalty, but Beaver Local sustaining at least a decent drive early on here.
Yeah, I think Coach Saran realizes that today's game is probably well out of reach, but the Beavers would like to establish something for the remainder of the season. They get a little offense going here against Bellaire. It'll be a good indication of possibly something brighter in the future for the Beaver Local Fighting Beavers.
2nd down and 7 now. Williamson will send Neville in motion now back over to the far side. He'll become the 3rd receiver on the strong side there. They throw it out. Pass intended that time, but falling incomplete. Looking for number 14. That's Chad Swanson. Pass ball is incomplete, and it'll bring up now 3rd down and 7, but there is another penalty flag on the field. And at least early on here in the 3rd quarter, we've had our share of penalties.
Yeah, that one was thrown by the umpire, and it's obviously going to be a holding call against Beaver Local.
So holding against Beaver Local, and that'll move them back. So see where they finally spot the ball. but it will stay second down.
Interesting note, Scott. Gino referred to the tradition of Bellaire High School. I had the opportunity to be here a little early this morning. There were actually fans in the stands at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Just amazing. They love their football down here at Bellaire, and this is for a game that really, let's be honest, most Bellaire fans expected to win today.
Right.
But there were actually fans sitting in the stands at 11 a.m. this morning. Just unbelievable.
They love this team in the All-American town of Bellaire. It's second down and 19 now for the Fighting Beavers as Neville comes in motion to the near side. Ball to the 21. They'll throw it up, intercepted by Ben Taylor. Williams' pass is picked off, and Taylor's got some blockers in front of him. He'll be forced out at about the 5-yard line, and the penalty flag is thrown there. But whatever the case, a nice job that time on the interception by Ben Taylor, moving it all the way inside the 10 and back down to the 5-yard line.
Yeah, the referee, Rusty Vermillion, has indicated it's a clip. It's going to bring it back to the 20, but nice return, excellent blocking by the Big Reds, and I believe that's Ben's second interception of the day.
He had one earlier that led to a Bellaire touchdown. And here his second one of the afternoon, and Williamson is picked off. Clipping there is your call against Bellaire, but it'll still be 1st and 10 for the Big Reds. And that'll move the ball back out, like you said, to about the 20-yard line.
I think the leading ground gainer in this quarter has been the umpire there marking off the penalties.
We have definitely had our share of penalties early on here in the third quarter. 5 minutes and 2 seconds still left to play in the third. 35-7 is your score in favor of the Big Reds. Jose Davis and his offensive counterparts back out onto the field. And looking to put another one on the board. 1st and 10 on the 21. Davis will hand it off. That's Bobby Roth turning straight ahead across the 20 and down near the 16-yard line. So it should be about a gain of 5 that time on 1st and 10, making it now 2nd down and 5, ball on the 16. And so, folks, Bellaire definitely well in hand of the contest this afternoon, already leading 35-7. Just continuing to show why folks around the Ohio Valley consider this team one of the best on the field this year. They'll hand it off to Mamie. He's got open area out in front of him. Gets around the corner, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown. 16 yards that time on the carry by Rich Mamie. A nice job on the outside blocking, bringing him into the end zone for another score, and that'll make it 41-7 in favor of Bellaire.
Tell you, Scott, we've talked a lot about the skill position players for Bellaire, but that offensive line is a veteran offensive line. They have a couple of 3-year starters at the guard positions, Josh Weber and Jason Meyers. Josh is not in there right now, but they have a very experienced ball club. Right now we have a couple of subs in there, David Brem and Aaron Chirpus, and I'll tell you, they've done a nice job of blocking for the running backs. And
the extra point try is up, and it's the second one in a row that Bomber has missed. So it's now 41-7 in favor of Bellaire, and we'll have to wonder how much longer Jose Davis may be in there. That may be the last we see of Jose this afternoon, barring not want to worry about an injury or anything like that. Let's send it down to Gino Startari, who's hanging out down there by that Bellaire end zone. Gino.
Okay, thank you, Scott. You know, you talked about the offensive and defensive lines here for Bellaire High School. Josh Weber and Jason Meyers, they're two captains on this football team. I want to add another name, David Brem, the center. These three guys can bench over 400 pounds. Folks, I don't know if you realize how much weight that is. If you can bench over 300 pounds, that's a monumental achievement. But those three guys, Weber, Brem, and Meyers, can bench over 400 pounds. You have to think that those three guys are probably Jose Davis's best friends on the team, not to mention the running backs, Bobby Roth and also Rich Mamie. But they have a lot of strengths on that offensive line and defensive line. Those three players also play a lot of defense. But this football team, not only very quick and very, as far as skill positions, very deep at that, but they're also a very strong football team. Back up to you guys.
Okay, Gino, thanks. 41-7 our score as P.J. Bomber puts the ball back into play. It's Brad McNear taking it deep inside his own territory. Tries to turn, and he slips a little bit when he does so. Dropping down at about the 15-yard line, and the Bellaire cover team there quickly putting the hit on McNear, so it'll be 1st and 10 for Beaver Local. Ball on their own 16-yard line.
Some of the youngsters on the Bellaire kickoff team there got a chance to get out and play, and they really pursued the football, and that tackle was made by 66 John Keller. And I think the youngsters for Bellaire are realizing they're going to get a little playing action here in the fourth quarter.
Great opportunity for Bellaire, leading now by 34 points at 41-7. It's an opportunity for Coach Magistro to get some of his younger players some playing opportunity and give them some experience here and real live action. So it's 1st and 10 now for Beaver Local. Ball actually on their own 19-yard line. That's Williamson at quarterback. He'll option it to Neville to the near side, and Neville will actually lose 2 yards back to the 17. And now it'll be 2nd down now and 12 after the 2-yard loss there on 1st and 10.
I'll tell you, in Coach Magistro's defense, he's made some wholesale substitutions. That tackle was by number 28, Ryan Snyder. He's a sophomore for the Big Reds.
So, fortunately for the young players, but unfortunately for the announcers, we're going to be staring at the lineup cards for the rest of the game, at least here it appears, trying to find out who's who and all that matter. 2nd down and 11 after the loss on 1st and 10 for Beaver Local. Williamson at quarterback dropping back to pass. Going over the middle, pass intended that time for McNear. Falls incomplete, so it'll bring up now 3rd down and 11. And Beaver Local needing to get up to the 29-yard line for another 1st down.
I'll tell you, Scott, throughout the game, of course, we mentioned Davis's name and Mamie's and all the other skill positions, but I think we really got to consider that Bellaire has one of the finest lines in the High Valley, too. It just doesn't happen by accident. As Gino alluded to earlier, they have a real strong weight program. The kids work real hard, and if Blaire's going to have success this year, it's going to be a team effort.
And obviously we see that. We see good, talented players on so many teams, but if you don't have a total team effort a lot of times, those talented players aren't able to carry somebody on their backs. The option back pass going downfield, nearly intercepted, and then, yes, it is intercepted. Pass picked out the air that time by Jeremy Lemley, and he's got some blockers in front of him. It was tipped that time by Ty Mascarelli, and Lemley was able to just pick the ball out of the air, but hold the phone, folks. We do have some penalty flags. Let's wait and see what it's all about. Passing was intended that time to Steve Hopple off of the option pass that time from number 26, I believe. Keith Dunkel was the man who was throwing the football.
Once again, the ever-present penalty flag. It's been pretty obvious throughout the second half. I think the linesman ruled that number 15, Clint Lacondas, got there a little bit early on the initial pass. He did deflect the ball, was intercepted, but it's all going to go for naught, and the Fighting Beavers are going to come up 1st down and 10.
Lacondas will be flagged for the pass interference. So Beaver Local, fortunate for themselves, they'll get the football back after the interception was taken out of the air by Lemley. So it'll be 1st and 10, Fighting Beavers. Ball on the 33-yard line. Well, Beaver Local does dodge a bullet there, already trailing by 34 points with 3 minutes and 1 second still left to go in the 3rd quarter. So 1st down and 10, Beaver Local. That's Neville in motion to the near side. Williamson will roll out to the near side also. Looking downfield, he's got Neville open, and he can't come up with a reception. Also in the vicinity that time was Steve Hopple, and whenever I see 2 receivers in the same area at the same time, I got to wonder if maybe somebody was off of their pattern just a little bit, because you really don't want to crowd the area that much with 2 of your own wide receivers. But nevertheless, Neville almost came up with a big reception that time for Beaver Local. Pass falls incomplete, and it'll be 2nd down and 10. Fighting Beavers on their own 33. One back in the backfield behind Williamson. Neville in motion again to the near side. Williamson dropping back, and he's hit as he goes to throw the football. It falls incomplete. Big number 79, Jeremy Chirpus that time getting into the backfield and putting the hit on Williamson as he goes down just as he gets ready to throw the football. So Chirpus that time getting good defensive pressure and causing the incompletion, bringing up 3rd down and 10. Two minutes and 41 seconds still left to play here in the 3rd quarter. Scott Oley along with Tom Bechtel and Gino Startari bringing you our News Channel 7 Game of the Week. Neville in motion again. Williamson rolling. Throwing back to the far side. That's McNear with a blocker in front of him. Dances around a man at tried to at least at the 40-yard line before he is swarmed over top by the Bellaire defense that time. Richie Matakowski, one of the first men to get there. Lemley also went on the tackle that time, but Bellaire, wow, they put the big hit that time on McNear. He looked as if he might have enough area to pick up the first down, but good swarming job that time by the Big Reds defense.
Yeah, the Bellaire defense throughout the day has been very, very, very effective in swarming at the quarterback and swarming at the football. And even the reserves here, they're doing a nice job of pursuing the ball.
On 4th and 4, Beaver Local's going to elect to go for it, down by 34 points. Williamson sends McNear in motion to the far side. That's Neville, excuse me. Williamson rolling out to the near side. Throws over the middle. Has his pass caught that time by Steve Hopple, who gets up across the Bellaire 40 and down to the 39. So a nice play that time by Beaver Local on 4th down.
Brett Williamson did a nice job of delivering the football. When he's had time, he's shown the ability to throw the football. Unfortunately, against the Bellaire first string, he didn't have much time.
So against some of the backups here, Beaver Local having a little more success, but really just for confidence sake, this is good opportunity right now for Beaver Local to get some confidence back into themselves here, moving the football down the field. 1st and 10, a minute and a half still to play here in the 3rd quarter. That's Neville in motion again to the near side. The deep handoff goes into the backfield that time to Brett Bowser, and not much running room inside for Bowser. A pickup of maybe 2 that time on the carry. We'll give him 1 yard down to the 38, so it's going to be 2nd down now and 9. A minute and 10 still left to play here in the 3rd quarter. 41-7 is our score. I set behind Williamson this time. Williamson dropping back, looking for McNear that time, and the pass just a little bit too far out in front of him. McNear made a diving effort, but unable to come up with a reception that time, and it's going to be 3rd down and 9 once again. And you know, really, I think if we look deeper inside to the problem with Beaver Local right now, they're having a problem of picking up good yardage on 1st and 2nd down, Tom, and they're leaving themselves with so many 3rd and long situations, and really they're forced to try and put the ball up in the air every time on 3rd and 4th down.
Yeah, when the other team knows you're going to pass, it makes for a tough situation. You like to pass on 1st and 10 or situations where they're not expecting. Right now, obviously, everyone in the stadium's expecting a pass from the Beavers.
So 3rd and 9, and here they go to the air again. Pass is caught that time by number 89. And that's Matt Thompson, who comes up with a reception that time. So good enough or no? It's short of a first down. It's going to be 4th and about 1. So another 4th down opportunity for Beaver Local. And Beaver Local is going to take a timeout. They want to talk things over here on the 4th and 1 situation. 29 seconds still left to play here in the 3rd quarter. It's 41-7 in favor of Bellaire. And folks, we'd mentioned earlier in the beginning of the 2nd half that coming up later this year we'll have another Bellaire Big Reds game also here on News Channel 7. They take on Ironton October the 28th here at Nelson Field. We'll be here to tape the game, have the replay for you. It's part of our doubleheader weekend that weekend. And that weekend actually we'll also have the Lindsley-Wheeling Central game. That's part of our doubleheader. Of course, so that game will be shown at noon here on News Channel 7. And also then following that game at 2 o'clock on News Channel 7, you'll be able to see the Ironton-Bellaire game. So, folks, you'll definitely want to mark that one down on your calendar. Our News Channel 7 doubleheader coming up in the month of October. And also our News Channel 7 Game of the Week will continue next week with Bishop Donahue and St. John's as we travel back across the river back over into West Virginia. Down on the sidelines, Gino Startari, and let's go down to Gino.
All right, thanks, Scott. We've already seen major wholesale changes on defense for Bellaire. Coming
4th
up,
and 1 here for Beaver Local. The pass is almost caught that time by Brad McNear on the 4th and short situation. And let's get back down to Gino. You can finish up your thought. Go ahead, Gino.
All right, Scott. We've already seen wholesale changes on defense from Bellaire with a 41-7 lead. That's no surprise there. But the book on Jose Davis is closed today. Sophomore quarterback Ty Massarelli coming into the game right now. And oh, by the way, not a bad day at the office for Jose Davis. He was 18 of 26 today for 258 yards, 4 touchdown passes, 3 of those coming to Dusty Kinder. Not a bad day for Jose Davis. How about it? Back to you.
Not a bad day at all, Gino, by far. As you said, Mascarelli now into the ball game at quarterback. And we will see several changes by Bellaire. And I believe Beaver Local just had to take another timeout. And they did take a timeout with 25 seconds. Not really certain why they elected to take a timeout. They just called a timeout before the 4th down situation, and so now they not able to pick up the 4th down. They turn the ball over on downs back over to Bellaire, and they even saw that time on the 4th and 1 situation, Tom, that Beaver local elected to go to the air as Williamson tried to hit McNear over the middle, and you got to wonder maybe why they didn't try to run it up inside. I'm sure they probably were trying to catch Bellaire's defense off a little bit. They had some success with the pass on that drive, but unfortunately for Beaver local, they do turn it over.
Yeah, you would expect some type of dive play in that situation, but Beaver local hadn't had any success today running the ball other than a couple option plays early in the first half, and let's face it, right now they just don't have confidence in their running game, and they've kind of taken to the air route.
Well, let's see. We'll have a chance to look at some of the younger players here on Bellaire's team now. So, as we mentioned, Ty Mascarelli, the quarterback now for Bellaire. And he'll give the handoff up inside that time. And that's P.J. Bomber, who also does the kicking for Bellaire. Gets the inside handoff, and he gets up across the 35-yard line, up to about the 36. So a pickup of about 6 that time on the carry, and we'll call it 2nd down now in about 4 for Bellaire. And that should be the end of the 3rd quarter as the clock winds down, and that is the 3rd quarter. So we've gone through 3 quarters of play here at Nelson Field, and Bellaire in hand of this one, leading by 34 points. Your score after 3, Bellaire 41, Beaver Local 7. Back with the 4th quarter right after this here on News Channel 7. Welcome back, everybody, to Nelson Field in Bellaire, and there you see Old Glory blowing in the wind here. Nice little breeze right now at Nelson Field, and Bellaire Big Reds just breezing right along today, too, if you will. Leading by 34 points after 3 quarters. 41-7 is our score, and Bellaire back on offense once again. Now with some of the younger players getting an opportunity to try their wares this afternoon here at Nelson Field, but another successful afternoon for Bellaire. Last week they scored 36. So far this week, 41. Folks, this team can put a lot of points on the board. That's the handoff in the backfield. Aderkoski with the ball. And he's brought down after the short gain. So we'll have a 3rd and we'll call it about 2 after the 2-yard pickup that time by Aderkoski. Do have a man down for Beaver local. That's number 26, Keith Dunkel, and he's laying on the field at about the 37-yard line. And Gino Startari has somebody on the sidelines right now. Let's send it down to Gino.
Thank you, Scott. And we're standing by live here with Scott Woods, a former quarterback here at Bellaire High School. Scott, your brother Pete Woods was into the Hall of Fame today, inducted to the Hall of Fame today. Now, if people don't know Scott Woods graduated from Bellaire back in 1989. He was the guy that threw a lot of touchdown passes to a guy named Joey Galloway. Scott, I want to get your thoughts. First of all, welcome back to Bellaire. I want to get your thoughts on Jose Davis. Is this kid legitimate? Is he a Division I player?
I'd say definitely. He's a big-time quarterback. He can throw the ball. And the great thing about him is if he can't throw it, he can run it, and not many quarterbacks have that ability to be able to throw and run.
How important is it for Jose Davis coming out of a program that loves to throw the football and a program that is such a tactical offensive program?
I think it'll help him out tremendously down the road in his college years. It helped me out when I went to school because of how sophisticated our passing game was here at Bellaire. It just makes you more mature when you go to college. You have a little bit of a head start on other quarterbacks.
In case you don't know, Scott Woods went to my alma mater, Indiana University of Pennsylvania, and you had a shot to win a national championship not too long ago.
Yeah, in 1993, we played North Alabama for the national championship, and we were both 13-0 and come down to the last 10 seconds, and they scored with, I think it was like 8 seconds to go in the game, and they beat us. But I, had a great career, and I liked IUP.
How special is it to play football in the all-American town of Bellaire?
There's nothing like it. I wouldn't trade anything in the world for it. The coaches, the people, the fans, everything down here, it's all pride, and I had a great time playing here.
Nice seeing you, Scott.
Thank you.
Scott Woods, the former quarterback of the Bellaire Big Reds. He quarterbacked back in 1989. He graduated. As I said, he used to throw footballs to a guy named Joey Galloway. And If I recall, that kid used to catch the ball a lot here at Bellaire, and he's catching the ball a lot at Seattle. Back up to you guys.
Okay, Gino Startari, thanks a lot for that. Down on the sideline, Scott Woods, one of the great quarterbacks here in Bellaire football history. There's been so many fantastic athletes come out of this school. They're going to the air again. Davis doesn't have to be in there for him to put the ball up. Mascarelli throws it downfield. Pass picked out of the air that time by Zerfus. CJ gets all the way down to the 24-yard line, so a pickup for first down.
It looks like the Bellaire Big Reds might have somebody to capably step in next year and fill the shoes of Jose Davis.
Yeah.
That's a fine-looking pass by a young sophomore, and I'm sure Ty will be the Big Reds quarterback of the future.
So Ty Mascarelli, as you mentioned, just a sophomore. He's 6 foot, 165 pounds, and right now leading Bellaire down the field again. Ball of the 24. Clock continuing to turn. 10 minutes and 5 seconds still to play here in the third quarter. Nice blocking inside that time, springing Mike Craig outside to pick up about 4 yards on the carry that time, and it'll bring up second down at about 6 after that short gain.
Just like to make a comment, Scott. We've talked all day about Jose Davis and obviously his outstanding abilities, but I think a little bit of credit's got to go to the Bellaire staff. They're willing to put the football in the air, and you know there's a lot of high school staffs that wouldn't be that way, but Bellaire throughout the years has been traditionally a passing type team. They'll throw the football, and of course they've had some outstanding quarterbacks like Scott Woods and Jose Davis, but I think we get a little credit there to the coaching staff.
I was a little bit ahead of myself. It was only a gain of 1 that time on the last play. So it's 2nd and 9. The carry in the backfield. Tim Marling goes 23 yards for the Bellaire touchdown, or just running away from the Beaver local defense. Tim Marling gets into the end zone. That'll make it 47-7 in favor of Bellaire with 9 minutes and 26 seconds still left to play here in the fourth quarter.
I think from our vantage point here, Scott, we're directly above the Tim Marling fan club, and some of the fans really got excited here when Timmy broke loose.
Nice run that time. He was able to work himself outside and then just worked his way directly down the sideline and gets right into the end zone for the 6 points. And a timeout taken right now by Bellaire as they're getting ready for the point after try. Already leading 47-7. Wow, with 9 minutes and 25 seconds still left to play. Let's go down to Gino Startari, who's on the sidelines.
Okay, thanks, Scott. As I said, I was talking to Scotty Woods. We had him on camera here not too long ago, and Scott Woods informed me of a very, very interesting point. Scott Woods told me he was a 3-year starter when he played here at Bellaire High School, a 3-year starter. After Scott Woods graduated, a guy named Chad Magistro, the coach's son, John Magistro's son, Chad Magistro was a 3-year starter. Now we're seeing Jose Davis. He started, of course, when he was a sophomore. He is a 3-year starter, so what makes these quarterbacks at Bellaire so special is because they get playing time. 3 straight quarterback eras with 3 years in a row of playing. Magistro, Scott Woods, and now Jose Davis. When you get all the playing time, it helps you immensely. Jose Davis is a very, very special talent. He will break the passing records, and that says a lot for a kid. Now getting back, this extra point is Ty Mascarelli. He's only a sophomore, but he'll get tremendous amount of playing time this year, and should start, barring an injury, 2 more years after that. So these quarterbacks get a lot of experience here at Bellaire. Back up.
Okay, Gio, thanks. As you mentioned, Mascarelli definitely will have at least 2 years of playing time after this season coming up as the quarterback for Bellaire. The PAT is good. It's now 48-7 in favor of Bellaire as they lead by 41 points with 9 minutes and 26 seconds still left to play here in quarter number 4.
Well, you know it's been a long afternoon, Scott, when the backup kicker, number 28, Ryan Snyder, gets an opportunity to kick the PAT. If Belaire's had one weakness today, they have shown a little inability to kick the extra point.
They've missed a couple of them, but I think if you're gonna try and find something that may be a problem point, that could be the only thing really that, from our vantage point, that may have gone wrong. Of course, maybe if you spoke with some of the coaches, they may have seen a few other breakdowns, maybe along the line or somewhere that somebody didn't run a pattern correctly. But other than that, folks, I have not seen much wrong with the Bellaire offense or defense or special teams today, other than the point after touchdown kick tries a couple of times.
Yeah, I think the line coaches might have be concerned about a couple holding calls throughout the game, but other than that, Belaire's been near perfection, and they show why they're going to be one of the teams to deal with in the OVAC this year. I might mention, Scott, they've got some tough games coming up down the road. You look at their schedule, there's a murderer's row there. I mean, Cambridge, Steubenville Central, Lindsley, Brook, Ironton, Martins Ferry, and those are all in consecutive weekends. So they got their work cut out for them this year, despite the fact they're a pretty good football team.
You look after today, and for the next 4 weeks, Bellaire will be on the road. They'll be at Edison, at West Holmes, at Cambridge, at Steubenville Central. Then they'll return home for the homecoming game against Lindsley, go on the road to Brook, and then come back for their final 2 games of the year against Ironton and Martins Ferry. The kick a little bit short this time, comes down to Dunkel at about his own 25. And he gets up across the 30 to about the 31, and a nice job that time by the Bellaire kick team to get down quickly and stop Dunkel just across the 30.
Yeah. We mentioned the Ironton broadcast will be coming up on October 28th. For local fans that are not familiar with the Ironton Tigers, they're perennially one of the top football programs in the state of Ohio. Traditionally, they're in the playoffs, and Bellaire knows if they're going to advance to the playoffs this year, Ironton is the type of team that you have to defeat. Not to mention Bellaire, Ferry, Brook, and a few others.
Bellaire's schedule definitely tough, and folks, this team will be tested throughout the year. Beaver Local making a change at the quarterback position right now. That's number 32 underneath center. That's Bill Jones, who's done most of the kicking this afternoon for Beaver Local. He'll hand it off to Jamie Popplerider. And Popplerider gets up across the 35 and up to there the 40-yard line. So a nice gain that time on first down for Beaver Local. And it's going to be second down now and just 1. So a 9-yard gain on 1st and 10 for Beaver Local. 8.5 minutes still left to play this afternoon. It's 48-7 in favor of Bellaire. That's Jones, the quarterback now for Beaver Local. They'll hand it off in the backfield this time. Going to number 20, that's Dan Gallagher. And Gallagher trying to get up to the 40-yard line, but he's going to be near it, but I think he's still going to be about a yard short of a first down, less than a yard. We'll call it 3rd and inches now for Beaver Local.
I think the Big Reds have about 53 or 54 players dressed today, and I'm sure all of them are going to see some action.
Yeah, it's nice for the kids. Of course, you know, whether you're a starter or not, you do practice all week long, and you do like to be able to get an opportunity to get some playing time. It's 3rd down and 1 now for Beaver Local. Jones will hand it off inside. That's Popplerider. Actually, number 44 on the carry that time. That's Dustin Hassan. He'll have enough yardage for the first down. Let's go down to Gino Starchari. Has an injury update for us on the Beaver Local sideline.
Okay, thanks, Scott. And we told you earlier in the first half, Matt Carroll, a senior lineman on this football team, was injured in the first half on a kickoff. Well, he went to the hospital, got an x-ray on his shoulder and his clavicle, which is your collarbone, and they said it's a slight separation of his left shoulder and a possible hairline fracture of the clavicle, so that's not good news for Beaver Local. Back up to you.
Okay, Gino, and a nice run ripped off that time by number 20, Dan Gallagher. Goes all the way from his own 45-yard line down to the Bellaire 30-yard line. So a nice pickup that time. We'll give him down to the 31. So a nice job running that time by Gallagher, getting outside and getting deep into Bellaire territory. So it'll be first down and 10 now, Beaver Local. Ball on the Bellaire 31. 7 minutes and 14 seconds left to play here in our ball game. 48-7 is our score. Bill Jones is your new quarterback. He replaces Brett Williamson. Pitch in the backfield, this time to Popplerider. Trying to get outside, gets across the 30. And up to about the 29-yard line. So a gain of about 3 that time on the carry by Popplerider. And right now, Beaver Local also doing the same thing as Bellaire, basically, getting a chance to play some of their younger players and get some other players some experience. Coach Sharon is in his first head coaching job here at Beaver Local, has spent several years as an assistant coach, and right now really just trying to lay his groundwork for his program. I mean, this is a year where Coach Sharon really has to just set to the players what he likes to do on the football field, and it's a learning process for not only the coach but also for the players on the team. So they're going through a lot of changes at Beaver Local right now, but it looks like all the changes are going to be positive, and I think that in time you'll see Beaver Local very competitive on the football field.
Yeah, and talking to Coach before the game today, he was very upbeat. He realized he had a tough task here today. the retiring athletic director didn't leave him with a real nice opening schedule here. Western Beaver was a state runner-up in Pennsylvania. Belaire's got an outstanding returning football team. He realized what he was up against, but the Beavers, they have lived up to their nickname. They fought throughout the day, and hopefully down the line there's some better things ahead for the Fighting Beavers in 1995.
3rd and 4 situation that time. The quarterback, Bill Jones, tucks it under and just trudges ahead down to the 20-yard line, and that'll be good enough for a Fighting Beaver first down. So it's first and 10 Beavers, that is, on the 20-yard line. 5 minutes and 44 seconds still left to play here in the 4th quarter. 48-7 your score in favor of Bellaire. Jones at quarterback. He's going to drop back and throw the ball up into the air, looking for number 21. That's Steve Hopple, and Hopple makes the reception. A nice job by Hopple inside the 5, down to the 4-yard line, and a good ball that time thrown by Bill Jones. Just kind of lofted it out there, and Hopple was just able to run himself right underneath of it for the reception. So it's first and goal, Beaver local. They'll spot it at the 4-yard line. So Beaver local again threatening, trying to put another one on the board. Bill Jones brings his offense up to the line of scrimmage. First and goal on the 4. Handoff inside, goes to Dan Gallagher, and Gallagher will squeeze his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Beaver local. Well, the Fighting Beavers crack the scoreboard again. That'll make it 48-13 as we await the point after touchdown try here by the Fighting Beavers.
Well, I'm sure Coach Saron's pleased with that drive. It's always nice to see your kids hang in there. Let's face it, you're down 49-7. It's only natural you're going to be somewhat demoralized, but Fighting Beavers are hung in there. They've driven the length of the field, and gives them a little positive note to head into their 3rd week of the season.
They're going to go for 2. Jones fumbles the snap, tries to pick it up. There's a penalty flag. I think we may have had some procedure before the play ever got underway. Some illegal procedure, if you will.
There's also a flag on the play.
Yeah, I think that was a snap infraction against Beaver local. The referee, Rusty Vermillion, gives us the illegal procedure signal, and 5 yards are going to be marked off against the Fighting Beavers.
So we'll move the ball back now 5 yards, back out to the 8-yard line. And so now they'll still elect to go for 2 points. 5 minutes and 12 seconds still left to play here. In the 4th quarter, it's 48-13 as we await the conversion here by Beaver local as they elect to go for 2. Jones drops back, goes to the end zone. His pass is incomplete that time. So it falls incomplete, and the score will stay at 48-13 with 5 minutes and 12 seconds still left to play here in this afternoon's ball game. Let's take a break. Back with more 4th quarter action right after this here on News Channel 7. And welcome back, everybody, here to Nelson Field in Bellaire. 48-13 is our score. The Fighting Beavers have cracked the scoreboard for the 2nd time this afternoon. 5 minutes and 12 seconds still left to go in this afternoon's ball game, and the Bellaire Big Reds definitely in hand of this afternoon's contest. And we mentioned coming up next week for Bellaire, it'll be their first road game of the season as they will travel to Edison to battle Coach Greg Bain and his Wildcats. So that should be a good test for this Bellaire team as they hit the road for the first time here in 1995. The kickoff, travel all the way back into the end zone. And Schoen will just come back out to the 20-yard line, and that's where Bellaire will take over. First down and 10, ball on their own 20. So we'll get a chance to look at some of the young offensive players once again for Bellaire, along with the defense here for Beaver local as they take the field once again. So first down and 10 now for Bellaire. Ty Mascarelli, your quarterback, hands it off into the backfield this time to Richie Matakowski. And Matakowski correction, that was Mike Craig on the last carry, number 34 and not 44. So Craig moves ahead. Pickup of about 3 that time on the carry. And we'll call it second down now in about 7. Clock continuing to turn. 4 minutes and 45 seconds still left to play, and I think the sun's trying to stick its head out here this afternoon. Second down and 7. Mascarelli, your quarterback. Pitches it into the backfield. That's Craig again, and unfortunately for Craig, his blocker, Jimmy Preston, moved the tackler right on top of him.
I'll tell you, it was a nice job by Dustin Hassan. Did a nice job of pursuing the football and dropped him for about a 4-yard loss.
Still, the loss will make it back to a loss of about 3 that time, so it'll bring up third down at about 13. Actually closer to a loss of about 5 that time. So it's going to be third down now at about 13. Clock continuing to turn and 4 minutes left to play here in this afternoon's ball game. 48-13 is our score if you've joined us late. Mascarelli's going to roll out to the far side, looking downfield. He's got Lemley open, who makes the reception at the 45, trips up at about the 49er. Folks, he may have been gone. Jeremy Lemley makes the reception and gets all the way up to near midfield at the 49-yard line. So it'll be first down and 10 Bellaire. Ball at the 49. Mascarelli, a nice pass that time, hitting Lemley for the first down.
I'll tell you, Ty's shown some nice promise here in his substitute role here. He rolled out nicely to the left. Of course, he is left-handed, delivered the ball right on the money, and Bellaire looks like they might have a quarterback that can step in and
they don't lose much, at least for that fact. It doesn't appear that they don't lose much. Pitch into the backfield, and that's the carry there by number 44, Richie Matarkowski that time. He gets up across midfield and up to the 45. Of course, there's the intangibles, obviously, that you do lose when if they would ever have the unfortunate possibility of Jose Davis going out and Mascarelli having to come into a ball game. Just the experience that a guy like a Jose Davis does have in all the games that he has played. And of course, there is so much talent in a player like Jose Davis, but for Ty Mascarelli, it's a great opportunity for him, being just a sophomore, and a chance to get the opportunity to play in a true game experience like this. 48-13 your score, second down and 4. The handoff in the backfield that time goes to Mike Craig.
Yeah, we're not trying to imply that Ty is any way, shape, or form another Jose Davis, but he's doing a nice job in the backup role here. And if in the event that Jose does get down for a little while, it looks like Ty could capably fill in. One thing we might mention there, Scott, Bellaire starts eight players each way. And throughout the course of the season, that's going to be a factor, that all those kids stay healthy. And, of course, like we said, they've got just a murderous type schedule. So it's going to be imperative that the Big Reds stay healthy throughout the remainder of the season.
Loss on that play brings up now third down and 8. 2 minutes and 25 seconds to go. Mascarelli rolling out, looking downfield. He's got Lemley again. Lemley runs underneath of it at the 25-yard line and gets down to the 23. That'll be good enough for another Bellaire first down as they continue to move the chains with 2 minutes and 17 seconds still left to play here in this afternoon's ball game. And Mascarelli doing a nice job rolling out that time, hitting Lemley and coming up with another first down. So the young Bellaire players getting their opportunity to try their wares here this afternoon, and I'm sure they would all like the opportunity to try and put some points on the board themselves. Mascarelli, the handoff inside this time goes to P.J. Bomber, and Bomber gets up across the 20 down to the 19. They'll pick up a 4 that time on first down. We'll call it second down now and 6. A minute 50 still left to play here from Nelson Field this afternoon as Bellaire looks to improve to 2-0 here on the 1995 season, while the Fighting Beavers will drop to 0-2 so far on the young season. But they have played a couple of very tough teams so far here in 95. Western Beaver, who was the Class A runners-up a year ago, back in Pennsylvania a year ago, where they lost a week ago, and then losing today to a very tough Bellaire Big Reds team. Hand up in the backfield on second down, and the carry that time goes to Mike Craig. Trying to get outside. He tried to turn the corner, but really never had much of an opportunity to really get around the corner. He'll stop about a yard short or so of the first down. It's going to be third down, and it'll be pretty short, close to, we'll call it about a yard. Third and about 1. Actually longer than that, excuse me. Third and about 3 still for the first down. Less than a minute to go here. We're down to 55 seconds at Nelson Field. 3rd and 3 for Bellaire. Mascarelli wanted to pitch it. Looks like this might be a busted play. He's just going to tuck it under. He has enough yardage for the first down, so he gets out of bounds at about the 10-yard line. So you see where it's marked at, whether it'll be first and goal or first and 10, if he actually got across the 10-yard line or not. 44 seconds still left to play here in this afternoon's ball game. First and 10, ball on the 10. So first down and goal now for Bellaire. 44 seconds still left to play in the contest. I set behind Massarelli. Pitch in the backfield this time. Going to number 20, that's Timmy Marling. Marling stretching, and is he in? Yes, touchdown. Well, Timmy Marling with his second touchdown of the afternoon, and at least the Bellaire fans in front of us are pretty excited about Timmy Marling. And he gets into the end zone again. That makes it 54-13 in favor of Bellaire, with the point after touchdown coming up.
Fortunately, in about 35 seconds, it'll be the end of a long afternoon for Beaver Local. But Bellaire, even the substitutes, they've executed well, and they show why they're a well-coached football team.
The kick is up, and it is good. And as you mentioned again, Ryan Schneider, the backup kicker, getting an opportunity to try his leg out. And so far, he's been pretty successful, hitting the last two kicks for the PAT. So it's 55-13. Bellaire. Big Reds scored 36 a week ago against a St. Clairsville team that last night was able to eke out a win over Union Local in the fair game over at the Belmont County Fairgrounds. And so now they have scored a total of, 91 points so far here, with the 55 so far today and 36 from a week ago. Wow.
That's a little over 45 points a game. I think any coach would be pleased with that output.
Outscoring their opponents so far by a total of 91-13. The only 13 points they've given up are the 13 they've allowed to Beaver Local today. And honestly, to tell you the truth, folks, those 13 points have basically come against the Bellaire second team and third team defense. So the first teamers here at Bellaire High School, defensively at least, still yet to really yield any points. So if you have Bellaire on your schedule, folks, get ready for a dogfight whenever this team shows up, or you have to make the trip here to Nelson Field. This team definitely going to be a team to reckon with, not only in the OVAC, but I would also have to go out and say all throughout the state of Ohio as playoff time gets near. Papa Ryder desperately needs to get on top of the football, and he finally does at about his own 10-yard line, and that's where he is dropped. The man who just scored the touchdown, Timmy Marling, says, how about I put the hit on you, Mr. Papa Ryder, and he knocks him down at about the 10 with 27 seconds still left to play. Our score, 55-13 in favor of Bellaire. The players here at Bellaire, folks, they can do it all. Offense, defense, special teams, it doesn't matter. These guys just love to play the sport of football, and they're proving it once again today. Something special, this football team here in this town of Bellaire. As you mentioned earlier, Tom, folks get here as early as 2 hours before the game, an hour and a half before the game, just to get the seats that they like to be in to watch this team play every Saturday. And folks, this team rewards their fans for showing up. This could be our final play of the game. Papa Ryder takes the handoff, and that should be it as the clock winds down, and that's it, folks. Bellaire, another huge win. Your final 55-13 as the Big Reds improved to 2-0 here on 1995. Let's take a break. You're watching the News Channel 7 Game of the Week.
Coming down the road, John Magistros just got to be happy that no one was injured. They got the win as was expected, and obviously there's much tougher days ahead for the Big Reds. On the other hand, Beaver Local, hopefully there's some better days ahead for them, but the Big Red Machine rolled on.
So the Big Red Machine rolls on, and they improved to 2-0 here in 1995. 36-0 a winner last week, 55-13 your final today over the Fighting Beavers of Beaver Local. So for Gino Startari, sidelines today, Tom Bechtel in the booth with me today. Folks, thanks for joining us once again here on the News Channel 7 Game of the Week. And for everybody on the News Channel 7 Game of the Week crew, this is Scott Oley saying so long from Nelson Field. Once again, your final score, Bellaire 55, Beaver Local 13. We'll see you next Sunday.